typically when we think about domestic violence and abuse of women, we think about physical abuse, right? We think about women getting punched and kicked and their arms broken, cracked ribs, black eyes, bruises, that kind of thing. But there are lots of different kinds of abuse. Some people are aware of the most common, which is emotional and mental. But there's also one that isn't discussed very often, and that is financial abuse, which is the topic of the discussion today. It comes in many different forms, but this organization called the Allstate Foundation Purse Program says that financial abuse plays a role in 99% of domestic violence situations, but that only 22% of Americans have even heard about this problem. Financial abuse, according to their study, is almost always a male, and it can be incredibly damaging to a woman's financial, mental, and emotional health. But I want to caution you, don't think, well, I'm single, this could never happen to me, this only happens to women in relationships. That's not true. This is the internet scam is a multi-billion dollar industry, and people will set up these GoFundMe for fraudulent reasons. They'll ask you for money, just a small amount for some emergency that you think, this is a friend of mine has been talking to this person on the internet. They need help. I'm going to send them $10, $20, whatever. You also can get victimized and financially abused by your own children, by your parents, by your siblings, by your personal friends, as well as by your employers. And I'll be going into that a little bit more in the show. Women are more than twice as likely as men to be victims of financial scams. For one reason is that seniors are targeted. Let's say people, I don't know, probably 60 and over are the primary targets for these kinds of scams. And since women live longer than men, there you go. That would be one reason why women are more often targeted. However, you have other types of financial fraud, such as telemarketing and internet fraud, job search scams, which apply to younger people, credit card fraud, which is anybody, identity theft, anybody, lottery and sweepstakes scams, your grandchild's in prison in some foreign country scam, the Nigerian prince investment scam, and even healthcare scams that are targeting seniors where they try to get their Medicare and Medicaid numbers to make fraudulent claims for medical treatment that they never got. So, what is exactly financial abuse? How would you define it? It involves controlling someone's ability to acquire, use, and maintain financial resources independent of the abuser. So, what they're essentially trying to do is get themselves in a position where they're controlling how you spend your money. They may even want to prevent you from getting your own bank account. They have you put your check into their account. They prevent you from getting employment or finishing school so that you can't better yourself and make more money or have money, period. They will get credit in your name without your permission. They'll get loans without your permission. They'll spend your money without your consent. These are all very common examples of what financial abuse looks like and some of the stuff that women go through. And, like I said, it can happen in any kind of relationship, even platonic friends. Neighbors have been guilty of this. People just do all kinds of stuff. They just super trifling. And no two experiences of financial abuse are going to look exactly the same. Some of them are very overt. They come right out with fake documents and everything and to try to convince you to invest in stuff or they straight out lie. Others are a little more sneaky. They will try to coerce you, thinking you think it is for your own good that you let them have control over your money. It's going to benefit you. You're not good with money after all. That's what they convince you. Some of them use pity, some of them use downright manipulation. There's all kind of tactics that we'll be going over today that they use to get their hands in your wallet and on your checking accounts. As a woman, you may be incredibly wealthy with trust funds and big bank balances and make, two or $300,000 a year. You may be a baby mama on Section 8 getting, child support and welfare, whatever they call it, AFDC for kids and uh, what you call it, free medical care and subsidies and all this stuff. It doesn't matter. Whatever you have that they feel like they can take from you and use for their benefit, they're going to set you up so that they take it. So don't think, well, I don't have anything for them to take. Every woman has something that they want, even if it's just a free meal that they don't contribute to. They're going to come in, tip it into your house and into your life to take advantage of you financially. You guys should understand also that There's no one type of woman. I mean, you could be any age, you could be any race, any socioeconomic status, look like, look beautiful, be very, very obese and unattractive or whatever. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter how well you keep yourself up. It doesn't matter what kind of job you have, what kind of education you have, what kind of degrees you have. Nothing matters if these guys look at you and decide that what you got, they want it for themselves. The one thing that women do have in common, though, no matter what your differences are, is at the end, when you are devastated, you have financial problems, you may have legal issues that you have to sort out, and you're shaken to your very core. The person that you thought that you could trust, you find out that you can't. Some of you are left penniless. You have to go and live with relatives because the guy is taking everything. So there's a real need for you to have this information so that you go out and you make smarter decisions about the men that you have in your life. We're going to talk. That's why this discussion is so important. So I'm going to share with you the information that I have about financial abuse and how the game is run, what kind of stuff they'll say to you, how they'll treat you, and different little tricks that they'll try to pull on you in order to get you to give them what they want. It's going to be a very interesting next hour and a half. Stay with me. I think you'll learn a lot. What's up, everybody? It's that time. Yes, I have on my sexy top because I went to brunch with this young lad. They opening stuff back up around here in Alameda County, and I busted in the door, and I didn't have time to change, so y'all just get to see me in one of my date outfits. But anyway, this is a very serious topic, and the more I looked into it, the more horrified I was. I mean, we get letters like this, where women are getting taken advantage of or being set up to be taken advantage of in the advice column pretty much every week. But, once you start doing research for a topic and you're being bombarded with thousands, I mean, thousands upon thousands of stories and websites and blog posts and tweets. The things. This is such a widespread problem, and it's just really shocking to me how many women don't recognize it for what it is. I'm going to be giving you. Thanks, Ravania. Uh, I'm gonna. Oh, let me see. Maybe my mic is in the wrong position here. Uh, 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 uh. Let's see if this is better. Closer to my mouth now. Sorry about that. Um, I wanted to share a couple of stories with you. Okay. This woman says, for me, financial abuse was mostly in the form of not contributing. And we see this a lot in the advice column. He forced his way into my home, refused to contribute to rent, utilities. He paid $20 a week towards food. Most of his money went on his credit card debt for his drugs and his alcohol. When he was working and doing better with his addictions, he saved thousands and claimed it was, quote, his money because he earned it, whereas my money was from the government, overlooking that I worked all day as a parent and home worker and had a part time job. When I left for a refuge with our son, he got to keep the house. Every stick of furniture, which had been all mine, my white goods, my car, and many of our belongings. He had been homeless with only what he could carry on his back when he moved in. What was her mistake? Messing with a man who didn't have shit. Okay? How many times have I told you that? All right? Now, let's look at letter number two. Situation number two. My financial abuse was different. I had to take control, or he would have spent it all. Then he would get annoyed for not having any money. He would constantly quit decent jobs because he wasn't happy. Therefore, I would be the sole breadwinner, meaning I didn't have any money for myself or to leave. It took 3 years of saving and hiding my tax money for me to make my getaway. This lady's name on Nicole. She says very early in the relationship, her dude took control of the money. They moved in together as it was more important at that. I mean, it was very more common in the early 2000s to start paying your bills online. So she didn't know nothing about it. So since he had everything set up, he says, "Oh, I'll do it. I'll take over that job." So she's feeling relieved, thinking, he's gonna do it. I'm not gonna have to be bothered. So he took over paying all the bills to the point where I didn't have a clue how to pay an electricity bill by the end of that 10-year period. He was always telling me how broke we were. And to this day, I wonder where all the money went. It's unaccounted for. We were in so much debt. Um, and then she says one of the things, the clearest instances was when she had inherited her great grandmother's property, and so she felt like, she and her kids would always have some place to go. But while she was in the hospital, she was sent paperwork to sign and sell the house. The guy had put a deposit on another property, putting her in what she felt was an impossible situation. I was in a position where if I don't go through with this, then we owe money over there that we just don't have. And I just don't have any choice. I have to sell and I have to move. No, you could have refused to sign anything, and then if he put, he was having a house for sale without your signature, you could have, put your foot down and said, no, this is fraud. As soon as you got out the hospital. So anyway, it took a suicide attempt for her to get the help that she needed. This woman named Lucy says when she met this guy, she was only 20 years old. He had been born into a wealthy family, and his parents gifted them with the deposit for their first home. So anyway, he ran all this game on her, and bottom line, ran up a bunch of bills. And since she had signed this agreement that she would leave with nothing, all the bills he ran up and he transferred all his debt to her credit card. So when he left, she left with nothing by the agreement that she signed, and then all of the financial responsibility became hers. And she says now here she is, 60 years old, and still trying to deal with that situation. So for the last 30 years, she has been trying to get her from under the financial debt and devastation that this man put her on. This woman was abused for close to 2 years. She used his name Sarah. Her ex-partner Max said any contribution that he made towards bills or food was him buying a share of her and anything that she owned. He refused to contribute anything unless he was provided with an invoice. The average weekly contribution he made for the entire relationship for all living expenses and bills was about $100. We were both working full time, but I was paying for everything. So I would live paycheck to paycheck, and he was spending like crazy. Over the course of their relationship, while he lived off of Sarah, he managed to save $850,000 in his own personal bank account, and she was left paying all the debt. So, that goes on and on. I have a couple of more stories. I may share them later. I was just horrified, so I kept, uh, I just kept copying and pasting them into my documents so that I would have them to read to you. But oh, here's one I do definitely want to talk about. This happens to a lot of sisters. Keisha, she says, I supported my husband while he studied. During that time, he was busy doing things like taking out second mortgages on the house and writing bad checks without my knowledge. When we got divorced, I ended up paying for all his financial wrongdoings because he didn't have a salary and I did. In addition, he never paid child support. Getting divorced caused me almost 30 years of financial stress, yet never for 1 minute have I thought that it was the wrong decision. I would rather be destitute than married to my first husband. If you're in a miserable marriage that can't be fixed, get out. Okay. So there's more and more. Like I said, how many of these do I have? I don't even know. But as you see, I just want you to kind of get an idea of the situation that these women are put in when they're not paying attention to what some man is doing with their money. Now I want to go over. You made it, Leandra. This is important. I want to go over some of the common ways that women are abused in dating relationships. Now, I want you to understand, even though I gave this a lot of thought over the last 2 or 3 weeks, this list is in no way a complete list of every single possible way that somebody can clown you while you're dating and get in your wallet. So some of you may have something to add. Feel free to add your situation or something that you've thought of or something that you've observed into the chat stream. It will become a part of this show so that people who come along and listen to it and watch it later can read what you wrote. So your comments and your experiences are very appreciated and very much a part of the educational process for this broadcast. So like I said, feel free to put your own story in there as much as you're willing to share. Okay, let's talk about some of the ways women are financially abused in dating situations. He forgets his wallet on dates. So women have told me that this happened to them, and they feel obligated to pay the whole bill. I'm going to tell you what you do. If that's the case, if he claims he forgot, then you ask for a separate check, you pay your part, and you dip out. Don't let him use you like that. Likewise, if they say, I don't have enough money, you ask for a separate check and you dip out. He got some money. He just don't want to spend it. He want to see how he can manipulate you. That's what you do. You pay for your stuff. You know, you don't get yourself in a situation like that. So let's move on. He puts down an expired credit card, right? So he magically cannot pay since the new one hasn't come yet. He didn't know it was expired, right? Or he's reached his maxed out his credit limit. And so they said you are sitting there waiting for him to pay because for the date that he asked you out on, and then he pulls a stunt like this. Again, what do? Garcon, separate checks, please. Immediately. And sometimes they want to argue with you and say, well, we don't do separate checks. Say, well, you're going to do separate checks today because all I'm going to pay for is the stuff that I ate because that's all I'm legally obligated to pay and you can't make me. So you could have that policy if you want to. You need to take that up with the person who claims that he left his wallet at home, or his credit card is expired. He's going to be the one that you have to get that other money out of. So give me the receipt so I could add up how much I owe. And that's all I'm going to pay. So, but a lot of you are afraid to take those kind of stands because you want the guy to like you want to continue seeing him, or you don't want to, be embarrassed in the thing. I don't give a fuck about being embarrassed or what he's talking about because I already know if a man's going to pull a stunt like that, I don't want to see him again. There will be no relationship with this individual because he's scum. Okay? So you got to change your thinking. If a man's going to treat you like this, that's nobody that you want to have a relationship with. You don't even want to spit on him because you might need your spit for later. That's your spit. You understand what I'm saying here? You don't give him nothing. You get your check, you pay it, and don't even leave a tip on the table because he might take that. You put it into your server's hand, and then you be like, it was wonderful. It was magical. It was nice meeting you. I think, I don't know, because at least I learned what not to do. Let's move on. These dudes, if you be kicking it with them, and suddenly, you think he's your friend, you think it's going somewhere, right? So he asks you to hold $50, $100, $500. He gonna pay it back, and some of you do it. I told you about the dude I met, right? I know I told this story at least one time or two. I'm walking around Lake Merritt with my daughter. And this I meet this dude, right? He's like, "Oh, hi, this and that, blah blah." So then he calls me later, and he's gonna tell me about he get $50 because now keep in mind I just met this fool earlier that day. Had like a 20-minute conversation with him. Like he walked with me, walked around the lake with us, and then he's gonna tell me that his grandmother he need $50 to buy his grandmother some medicine. And I'm like, "What's it gonna happen if she don't get it?" And he's like, "Oh, she might die." I was like, "Well, I guess the bitch gonna be dead then, cause I'm giving you shit." And that was that. Now, this was like, in less than, I don't know, just to say less than 10 hours of me meeting him. He was already trying to dig in my pocket for $50. I'm not giving you $5. She old anyway. So, just let her go on and tell her to go to the light. She'll be all right. That's what old people need to do. You know what I mean? Shit, when I get old, I'm not gonna be trying to stick around here forever. Okay, let's move on. He tells you about his grand and glorious past and what he used to have and how much he used to earn and how much he used to buy for women and the places he used to go. But he claims he's fallen on hard times and he just needs a little help to get back on his feet. Some of these dudes have, counterfeit degrees, counterfeit driver's licenses, counterfeit IDs, all kind of stuff. They be counterfeiting paycheck stubs, all kind of stuff to get you tricked into thinking that he's something that he's not, you know. But I've been telling when they talk about what they used to do, and I'm like, well, what you gonna do now? What you gonna do for me? And then they start singing some kind of song and they, well, I don't do stuff for women no more because this and that. Oh, really? Bye. I don't have time for that. I'm not giving you crap. What you gonna do for me? And if the answer is nothing, then I don't have no conversation for you, Holmes. Or he leads you to believe that he loves you, right? He's gonna be around for a long time. He's got that magical sound of future talk, that stuff that's straight out of the fairy tales and have you all your heart all pitter patter. You dreaming stuff, telling your friends you done met the one, all kind of stuff. And he likes to use the word we a lot. Well, we and we gonna be old together. What do you think it's gonna be like when we sit there and talk to our grandchildren about how we first met? We gonna go on a vacation next year because I've always wanted to go to Tahiti. How are you interested in going to Tahiti? I think we could go to Tahiti on our honeymoon. They talk all kind of smack, just all kind of smack, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, it's just nothing. It's no conversation. He don't have nothing to back that up. He just coming up with stuff out of his head, and y'all be biting on it. See, so it's like if he's able to stir up your emotions and get you to buy into his fantasies, so then you feeling like, well, I have a future with this man, so I'm going to invest in him and invest in what he's talking about. That's the game. But you need to be looking at, okay, well, that's what you talking about. What, you ain't doing nothing though. Where's the savings account for the trip to Tahiti? Where is, what you putting in place for all this stuff to happen? You just sitting up here selling wolf tickets. Ain't nobody buying that. Yeah, but I mean, like, I just be amazed because Nig Dogs will be talking that stuff. Honey, they should all write novels. They would be more popular than Stephen King with the fantasy stories that they be coming up with. But it's like only a certain kind of woman is gonna be able to buy into that kind of stuff. And it's usually the kind that, believe in soulmates and romance and all that kind of stuff. If you tell a man that somebody's your soulmate or you thought somebody's your soul, anyway, anything about soulmate, soul ties, soul binds, all that kind of stuff, he knows you're a fool and he's just gonna use you up. Y'all need to stop that. I've talked about that on the many videos. That's not how you approach men. You do not use them kind of words with them because they know that you lacked intellect. Okay, that you believe in silly stuff. So that's not the move you want to make. Thanks, mommy. You just keep that to yourself. Tell your girlfriends. Do not never tell a man that. Okay. Uh, he feels entitled to your money or your assets. He will use your stuff without your permission. He will take your stuff and pawn your stuff to get money for himself. He will sell or confiscate your stuff. All of this without your permission. You didn't get permission to do anything to your stuff, but suddenly your stuff is missing. Well, I know I experienced this personally. This dude I was living with, my grandmother had given me a ring, right? It was like a plain gold band. I don't know if it was hers. I don't know where she got this ring from, to tell you the truth. I don't remember. But I do remember that, she had given it to me and I really liked it and I had it in my jewelry box. Well, at one point I was looking for my ring and it wasn't there. And I was like, hmm. So I'm ready to do laundry, right? I didn't really think too much about it because, I could have left it somewhere else in the house, like my makeup bag or, you know what I mean? I wasn't tripping. But then I'm doing ready to do laundry. I'm going through dude's pockets and I find a pawn ticket. And it says one gold ring. He had got $25 for my ring that my grandmother gave me. So I went in the back of his checkbook and I tore out a check way in the back, forged his signature because I could write just like him. And I cashed it. And then I went to the pawn shop and got my ring back. And then when I confronted him about it, He started trying to deny it until I pulled out the ring. Said, yeah, and you paid for it too. Look in your checkbook. He's like, well, I'm gonna, say that you committed fraud, and I said, I'm gonna say that you committed theft, and they have you on video at the pawn shop pawning the ring. So who you think gonna win if we go to court? Who you think gonna win? I was done with his ass. So it's like, you gotta watch them. You cannot. So after that, when I started, dealing with dudes, I put my shit in a safe deposit box. There's nothing at my house. Nothing. Passport, jewelry, all my inheritables from my, deceased grandparents and all stuff. Everything's locked away. I got some pearls from my grandfather. They gave me. He won them in in a poker game, but still they're real pearls, and they're all everything's locked away. I don't keep nothing in my house no more because I don't trust nigga dogs with my stuff. I didn't even trust my daughter's friends around my stuff. I have my stuff somewhere where I know I can go get it if I need it. Okay, so these guys, they'll feel confident. They'll feel they demand that you bail them out of a difficult situation, right? Like jail is a real good one. They want you to bail them out. But I'm like, well, what you do to get in there? Maybe you should have thought of that, because real crooks, they already have their bail fund set up, right? They don't be looking dependent on nobody. They just say, Mama, that account that I gave you that bank book to, this is the passcode. Go down there and get, the $10,000 out and pay my bail. Okay, that's how you do it when you know you in some shit. You handle your business in advance. You don't be looking for no woman to do it. So the fact that he want to do some crook stuff and then have you cover for it, pay the fines, pay the what you call it, retribution or whatever they call it, when you got to pay the money back, and then pay for his bail too, and then make the bail payments too, because he ain't working and all this kind of stuff. How much money did you just get ripped off for to get this fool out of jail? And remember the lady who won I think she was in South Carolina or something. She won some huge amount of lottery winnings. And every week the police was picking her boyfriend up and she had to bail him out 20 grand, 20 grand, 50 grand. I knew the boyfriend and the police was in cahoots. They were splitting her money. And so she won, over the period of 2 years or something, she got took for half a meal. Because dude was steady, she was steady paying bail to get him in and out of jail. He would have rotted there. Oh, she was 25 million. Oh, she bailed him out more than three, because I remember it was three and he was in there again. So it was more than three times. And it was just these massive amounts of money every time. So I knew him and the police was in cahoots. That was what that was, to take her money. Okay, or they intercept your mail, right? Because he moved in your house, or he got a key. So he coming, he checking in your bank, he's opening your mail, seeing what your bank statements are, what your investment balance is, at Bear Stearns or whatever, and Goldman Sachs. He's seeing how much money you got. Your tax statement comes to the house, right, for the properties you own. He sees how much the assessment, how much it was appraised for. He knows all your business. And you got your social security card laying around, your credit card statements laying around, all the stuff. He got all your information. So he can go and open up a credit card in your name that you don't even know about. That happens a lot too. Okay. They even expect you to pay for his bills or his other financial obligations, like his car notes, his bail bonds fees, his child support, buy his clothes, pay his vet bills for his dog, all that kind of stuff. And y'all pay it because that's my man. That's my man. Thank you, Kenny. I got to support my man. Remember the sister a couple of weeks ago? Dude want to start a business, so she tried to support her man and help her dude. And to the tune of 200 grand she got took for. This was just an advice column like 2 weeks ago. This happens. Okay. Or he claims that he paid a bill or made a payment but did not follow through. Right? So he got you believing that it's paid and it's really not. The next thing you know, here come the sheriff knocking on the door telling you to pack your stuff because they about to auction off your house. Or they about to they come up and drive up and start repossessing your car. You come and turn the lights on, ain't no lights. He didn't pay the bill. There's no dial tone on your phone because he didn't pay the bill. Took the money, but he didn't pay the bill. Landlord about to evict you because you gave him money to pay the rent and he didn't pay it. These kind of things happen all the time. Okay, or he wants you to move in with him. Yeah, it'll be great. You can save money, this and that. But then somehow though it turns around, well, you need to buy this and you need to pay that and you need to pay me half of the expenses here, which are more than where you were. That half is more than where you were. So you ain't saving no money moving in with him. He's saving money though by having you there. Or he suggests that you buy some big ticket item together. The top one is a house. They want you to buy a house with them. Or wants to buy a house and have you come and move in with him and help him pay for it, but your name ain't on it. Right? So you just helping him make his note, his mortgage rather. Or you buy a car that's in his name, or a truck for his business that's in his name, but you paying for it. Some expensive ass dog, this kind of stuff. They do that all the time. All right. Or he drives your car. No, you feel like, well, it's our car. No, it's not. It's the person whose name is on it, whose name is on the insurance, and whose name is on the note. That's whose car it is. Nobody else should be driving your car. Because he don't have no insurance. He don't have no job. He has no financial way to reimburse you should he total out your vehicle. So and Lord, don't let him hit somebody or hurt somebody, damage somebody's property. Then you on the hook for that too. Did you ever think about that? Because he's not on your insurance, and he don't have no insurance because he don't have no job and he don't have no vehicle, and you let him drive your car. I don't do that. I don't. Nobody drives my car except the mechanic, maybe when they test driving it. That's it. That's the only person who gets to drive Deb's car, because ain't nobody else on Deb's insurance. So that means don't nobody else need to drive my car. No, you can't drive my car. Drive your car. You don't have a car to drive. Then there's bus passes. There's Uber. There's Lyft, and there's taxis, and there's Feets. All of those will get you somewhere besides my car, because you ain't going in my car. Okay. If you want me to drive you, then you're going to buy some gas for my car, because my car does not run on air. So, all that. So, too many women have had stories like this where they let the dude drive their car. Some of them had the dude just totaled out their car twice. Okay. He did it the first time and you still let him drive it again. He totals it out again. You know why he's doing it? Because he don't give a shit about your car, your vehicle. And he thinks you're stupid enough to let him keep doing it. So he's going to just rub your nose in it until you get a clue. Or he says, I'll take care of the bills. You don't have to worry about it. So he's going to use his control of and access to your money, the money that you earned, you saved, you invested to pay these magical bills, right? And he don't even have a job. You've been managing your life and your money fine before you ever laid eyes on him. Why do you think you need to turn over responsibility for your life and finances to some clown that just came on into your life? I don't understand it. Some of them will force you to get pregnant, right? They want you to be pregnant. They will sabotage your birth control or coerce you to get pregnant with all these fantabulous stories about what's going to be woulda, shoulda, coulda. And y'all bite. Well, I'm going to be married, but you don't stick to that. You just, go on and get pregnant and you end up a baby mama. And then, dude, he basically wants you to be pregnant because he wants to clip your wings. He wants you to make you stay at home. He wants to be able to keep tabs on you because he's going to always have to need to know where his kid is, right? It's a trick, ladies. Don't fall for it. Your birth control game needs to be so tight, it's just like waterproof. That's what you do. And this the one, what they call it, morning after pill and stuff. You should have a couple of those in your nightstand. So just in case you reach over and you pop one. Okay? You don't want to be having no knuckleheads baby. Don't ever do that to yourself. Some of them will lie and say that they have a vasectomy. You got to watch that too. Oh, I can't make kids. I had this mumps when I was a kid, or I had a vasectomy and this and that. You don't have no proof of that. The next thing you know, you end up pregnant. Oh, it's a miracle. Oh my God, I thought I couldn't make kids. And then, this could be my only chance to have a child. This is a blessing from heaven. This and that. So, you all church going types, you gonna believe it. You gonna fall into that trick bag. That you just got gamed on like 9,000. He had every intention of getting you pregnant, and you fell for the okey doke. But if they them religious types, they don't want to get an abortion. Oh, I mean, that's a sin. That's against God. This and that. And in the meantime, you're gonna suffer for the next 18 to 20 years with some knuckleheads baby that just wanted to game on you and clip your wings and bring you down. You don't even understand what the game is. Ain't he trying to have that fool's baby when he ain't contributing nothing? He ain't about nothing. Don't you understand? A man who would do something like that to you is so underhanded and sneaky and not worth trusting. You couldn't trust him. This is just ridiculous. It's like y'all don't connect the dots of his character. Someone who would do something like that. That is a person of poor character. You don't want to have somebody of poor character be the father of your children. Okay, so let's move on. Now let's talk about some of the stuff they do at work. Oh wait, oh I skipped one. Or they ask you to charge them something or buy something for them, and they're gonna pay you back later. That's a big one. Oh, babe, could you put this on your credit card for me? And then he's supposed to be giving you the money back on Friday when he get paid. Oh, I don't have enough, and then they give you like $20, and they done charged up 400. Stuff like that, and then you stuck with the rest. Even if he does give it to you $20 at a time, who's covering all the interest? That's you. Who can't get what they need because the balance is too high with his $400 charge on it that you didn't expect to have on there. That's you suffering because you can't use your credit the way that you need to because of him. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. You need something later, then I suggest you save your little 2 cents up and stuff and then make that happen. Watch for another sale. That's what I tell them. Maybe it's like after Black Friday. You might have to wait till then. They have great sales, and then you could buy it. I'm not doing nothing. I'm not helping you do nothing. Okay, now we're going to talk about at work. At work, they will ask you to work late, come in early, work through lunch, work through breaks without paying overtime. Or if you're in management, they don't want to pay you, give you compensatory time, which is, usually what they do since management is exempt from overtime. They don't, you might even be incurring extra expense with childcare overcharges, right? And they don't want to pay that. Oh no, I had a job like that. Oh, they went out of business. Pettit Martin, where they used to have to shoot, where they had the shooting. My boss was head of the corporate department, and he had it in his mind because his previous assistant did worked overtime that I should too. And I said, "Oh, no, no, no. I have to go and pick my daughter up from daycare." Sometimes, my husband traveled for work, so sometimes he wasn't around. It was only me to pick her up. I had to leave work on time to get there by 6 o'clock. I worked in San Francisco. I had to get all the way across the bridge and get up, up the hill to Oakland to pick her up by 6. That's when the center closed. If you were late every minute that you were late, wait, it was $1 a minute overcharges. So 30 minutes, that's $30, and you got to pay it on the spot. So I was like 30 minutes late one time, and the lady sat there and stuff. Gave me my little invoice. I gave her the check for $30, and then I put it on my expense report. And my boss was like, "Oh, we don't pay for that." I said, "Yes, you do, because you're the one who made me stay here, and I told you I had to pick her up by 6 o'clock. So this is an expense that I had to incur because you didn't do what you're supposed to do on a timely basis. I'm going to put this on my expense report, and then you better approve it, or don't ask me to work late again ever." And then he sat there looking all kind of, looking like, oh, this might be a problem. And then he signed that expense report. And then after that, we was on the same page. He understood if I work 5 minutes late, you owe me $5. And that's how we did that. Also, what they'll do is they'll ask you to take on, like say somebody quits or gets fired or something. They're going to ask you to take on the work of that person without giving you any extra money to do it. So essentially, you work in two desks and, you get one pay. So they're saving all kinds of money in salary and benefits and taxes and all that. The one suffering stress, anxiety, can't get it done, breathing for high blood pressure, all that stuff, anxiety is you. Oh, they're real good about doing that. They're real good. The last time they did that mess to me, I was working at this law firm. I went out on a stress leave. I was gone for a month. And then I came back and they're like, "Oh, we got some help." I'm like, "Yeah, see, you could have done that in the first place instead of try to figure out a way to make me do it so you could be, make money, make profit at my expense." So, I was out sitting at home chilling, legs crossed and watching TV. All the daytime soaps and stuff I never got to watch. I was just chilling, relaxing on my stress leave. 'Cause I'm like, yeah, they stressing me out. And it was true, they were stressing me out, but not to the point where I need to be off. But I just wanted to make a point and punish them for that. And after that, that's how we never had that problem again. They never did that to anybody else after that because they figured out that that wasn't the move to make. All right. Or, okay, now we're back to our relationships. He will open up credit cards, utility accounts, and etc. in the names of the kids, using the kids' social security cards names and slightly changing the date of birth so that they look like they're over 18. And then they max them out and then they don't pay them. So your kids, by the time your kid makes it to college or even before, your kid already has fucked up credit and can't do nothing. Can't get a credit card and stuff at 18, 21 when they first go to try to get a job because their daddy has used their name for some unscrupulous activities. And so now the child is screwed and got to start off behind the eight ball because they have a trifling father. Or they will move in with you. They don't contribute financially or fairly. One guy was saying, well, I don't see why I should have to pay her anything because she was already paying all of that before I moved in. So why should I have to help? And I'm sitting there looking at this 250-pound, big gutted, greedy pig and thinking, you must eat at least $500 worth of groceries every month. And love to run up the light bill, playing video games and watching TV sports and stuff. Had to have his special sports on the cable channel, all kind of stuff. So her expenses went way up once he moved in. But that was his attitude. I'm thinking I would have bounced your big fat ass up out of my house. You wouldn't have been doing nothing. But I would never let him move in the first place, so that would have never been me. Okay, some of them will move in his mother, his mama, and his kids, so he don't have to pay child support. So he gonna move them into your house. So suddenly here you are feeding and clothing and taking care of all these people. Running your light bills up higher, your grocery bills up higher. The house is dirty. You're doing way more laundry, so your water bill, soap bill, everything. You're using up toilet paper. The shower running all the time. Your expenses quadrupled. And he's just like, oh, well, I'm saving. I don't have to pay child support, and my mama's here, and I know you're gonna take care of her, and so it's all good because I don't have nothing to worry about, and I'm saving money. And you the one stressed out and going crazy trying to figure out what's happening. And don't let them have little kids where they, need like daycare and get sick and need to be run to the doctor and all that stuff. You're going to be doing that too. That's why, I'm that stepmother thing. No, I'm good. I don't want to be bothered with nobody's kids, grandkids either. Or he creates children out of wedlock. So here you are married, right? And he go and tip out is too stupid to strap up. So he makes a baby or two or three, like this one woman I know. Her husband made two kids outside their marriage with the same woman. And they was tapping her paycheck for his child support because he didn't have a job. He quit because he didn't want to pay the child support. Since California's a community property state, they went after her paycheck. She finally wised up. The first one she stayed with him. The second one she's like, oh no, I got to go. And so she finally filed for divorce. But I'm like, where they do that at? Because the second I found out he cheated, we would have been in divorce court. I don't know. I'm not trying to. No. Psh. Okay. And then, or here this one, they move in with women on Section 8, right? They move in a section, so they'll say, well, I'll pay all of it. What, it's $100. So he paying $100, for living in a nice, place in the suburbs or whatever, because she got a couple of kids, and so they got a big space. Especially if you have mixed, boys and girls, they make you have separate rooms. So she got like a 3-bedroom house. So it's nice. They got a yard. They got all the stuff, right? Room for his dog to play. So you don't have to play with nobody else to board his dogs. You can put the dog in the backyard for free. And then here's somebody cooking for him and cleaning for him. And, this everything is nice. It's a nice environment. But she's on Section 8. You're not on the voucher, sir. You're not supposed to be there. So then somebody reports her. She loses her voucher and she don't have enough money to pay that $3,500 a month rent that the housing people are really paying for market value of that rental because they're basing it on her, little low income. And so she loses her voucher. So her and her kids are now homeless. And dude is just like, sucks for you. And he goes on and moves in with somebody else. But so many women do this. I have a friend who works for the housing authority here in Alameda County. And she's always talking about how many women get kicked off the program for letting some knucklehead man move in with them. And so then her and her kids suffer. They be living in a hotel room and all that kind of stuff. All the lovely things that they had gone because of a nignog. Y'all need to wake up and stop doing this. Or they use your ATM card and they withdraw money on your credit cards or out of your bank account without your permission. So those of you who give them your PIN number because you trust them, stupid. They steal money out your purse. They forward checks with your signature to pay his bills. They get secret credit cards or loans forging your signature. Some of them are even in cahoots with notaries that are crooks. So they'll steal your houses and stuff right out from under you. This is a story. Joseph and Malvina, both 80 and retired, had taken in their daughter after her release from prison. Soon after she moved in, the couple received one credit card bill for $8,347 and another for $12,694 and a third for $10,012. The couple had no idea their daughter had used their credit cards or that she had opened additional credit card accounts in her mother's name. Now Joseph and Malvina are faced with significant debt. The couple's other adult child contacted APS, Adult Protective Services, the credit card company, and the Federal Trade Commission to report the fraud. So, girlfriend going right back to prison. Thanks, Maya. This is just, I mean, it's just ridiculous. You guys know I used to work with APS, and we saw stuff like this all the time, even worse. These people are trifling. So that's why I'm going to wanted to stress. Don't think it's just your husband's boyfriends and stuff like that. It could be your own sons and daughters. It could be your own parents. It could be your next door neighbors. It could be your cousin. It could be your best friend. And the list is endless. So the awareness that you need to have about monitoring your accounts and keeping control over your finances applies across the board. It doesn't matter who it is. Don't lose your focus not for 1 second because you will get took. Some of them will steal your valuables or your money. Like the dude I told you took my little ring. It wasn't no big deal, but it had a sentimental value and it was mine. You don't take my stuff. So, and here's a story. A lot of them will go after disabled people or seniors. So women are especially vulnerable if you're sick. Like say you're battling cancer or you had a stroke, you have a heart attack or something where you're in a weakened position. Even pregnancy can leave you that way, especially if you're having a tough pregnancy where you have to stay at home and you're more bedridden than anything else. You're very vulnerable in any of those situations. You're at that person's mercy. And a lot of them, that's when they show their true colors. Not only will they physically and mentally and emotionally abuse you, they will financially abuse you as well. Here in this story, Roxanne is 88. She needed some help managing her day to day affairs, and her nephew, who was out of work, offered to come and live with her and help her out. So, it would help. I mean, he'd have a place to live and food and stuff, and then she'd have somebody there to help her. Good. I mean, on the surface, it sounds like a good bet. So he took his aunt to the bank, saying that he wanted to protect her money. She told the bank teller to add him to her bank accounts. He then downloaded a power of attorney form from the internet and had her sign it. With that power of attorney, her credit card company added him to as a second user to her credit card. When her sister visited, she asked about the situation. Roxanne told her that she thought her nephew was stealing her money. She and Roxanne went to the bank and learned that Jack had spent a considerable amount of his aunt's money. The sister alerted the bank officials, APS, and local law enforcement. She filed for an emergency civil protective order to have that fool moved up out of her house. See, so that family, and that's what I'm saying. Women and especially elderly women are prime targets for this kind of stuff. Some of these men will take their kids' college funds, just take it, gamble it away, spend it on whatever they want, and they will even take their little kids' piggy banks. It might have 50, $60 in it in change and dollar bills and whatnot. They'll take that too. They'll sell your valuables or your heirlooms or the gifts that people have given you. He'll say, I'm better at saving, so let's put the money in my account. And you, being, I don't know what you be thinking about, you let them do it. Or they borrow your money, they never repay it. Some have the gall to even come up to you and get more money. They haven't even paid the other money yet, but you giving them more? Or you allow a friend or family member like the other lady to move into your house in exchange for room and board, but they take advantage of the situation. Here's the story. Barbara, 76, a retired high-ranking federal government employee, was independent and lived alone. She'd been recently diagnosed with Alzheimer's and knew she was going to need some help as this proceeded. She asked Margie, a former neighbor who was recently divorced, to move in with her. Over time, they agreed that Margie would care for her and that in return, Barbara would provide Maggie with food and housing. Barbara gave Maggie power of attorney for access to all of her accounts and named her the sole beneficiary of her investment portfolio. After several months, Barbara noticed that her accounts were almost empty and called local law enforcement, which also notified APS. They will give away your things or your children's things to his family, friends, or his other women and her kids. So forcing you to have to replace those items, right? Because you need them. Your kids, it's their stuff. I knew this woman, this dude, he gave away his, or she had bought her son a gaming console for Christmas, and sometime in January, dude just came and took it and gave it to his son that he had, his kid he had with some baby mama, and acted like he just got it for him. She had bought that for her son, so her son's crying because he don't have his thing, so she had to go out and buy him another. So now she done paid for two gaming consoles, and dude ain't paid for none, but his kid is over there happy with the games and the console that she bought her son. Trifling. I would have. I mean, that's a moment when you just want to run somebody over with your car. Okay. They promise to contribute and they don't, so you have to cover your half and their half too. Um, Church. I know y'all don't want to hear this. Church is a big one. Church is a huge one. The donations of time, energy, food, gas, and money that women, especially black women, give to these pastors is outrageous. It's to the tunes of billions of dollars every year. Just think what y'all could do with that money if you invested in yourself and your kids versus giving it to some jackleg ass preacher. And just everybody knows, the Church of Deb is this is sarcasm, but kind of. It's just a different kind of preaching. I'm not asking for that. I mean, people donate, but they do it because they find value in what the content is here, and they don't only do it on Sundays. They do it for What the Fuck Tuesday and other things too. And but this is different. I spend days putting these shows together. And it's nowhere, they ain't nobody, no, it's not like what they getting in churches. They be walking out with $200,000-$300,000 every week. Are we doing that around here? Okay, so you got to think about that. What you're doing, especially some churches that preach that prosperity doctrine. Be very careful with that. Okay, or he wants you to invest in his business and support his dreams, but he don't really have no plan. You don't see no business plan. He don't have nothing in place. He just talking, 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 and you get caught up in the dream like y'all did with Umar, what his name is, Umar, and that boys' school that he didn't have shit. Nothing was in place. Okay, he didn't have no board of directors ready to go. He didn't have nothing. And the lies he told was just phenomenal. It was just unbelievable. I was warning people that it was a scam, and nobody wanted to believe me. I mean, I did the research. I wrote an article before all that broke and talked about how, talked to the people at the auction house where he lied and put on Facebook. I took a screenshot of it because I knew he was going to take it down, where he said we won the bid, this and that and stuff. And I talked to the auction house and they're like, no, he didn't even put in a bid. What are you talking about? We have all the bids and his name is not one of them. So he was lying. A lot of these things are very easy to verify if people just take the time. I took the time and I verified it. He was lying about all kind of stuff. But nationally certified school counselor, that was a lie too. So I mean, it was like this man. I don't know. He just came out of nowhere, and then he crawled back in wherever he came out from after taking all y'all's money, getting y'all all pumped up and taking all your money. I remember I saved this one lady. He was trying, on the Facebook page. She was all excited and she wanted to donate. She said she had some land that had been in her family for generations down in Tennessee or somewhere. And so she had typed in there, that she had tried to reach somebody to talk to him about, how to give away this land. And I told her, don't you think that maybe if you can't find somebody that's willing to talk to you professionally in a business like way about this transaction, that maybe that's something you don't need to be doing, and that your God, Jesus, or whoever you believe in, has put this barricade in place so that you don't make this mistake and lose the land that your ancestors busted their ass to make sure that you and their descendants have? Don't you think you need to slow down and think about this a little bit more? And I'm not telling her what to do. I'm just saying, think. And so she said, "Oh, you right." And so I don't know whatever happened about it, but she was offline at that moment and stopped talking about it. So see, this is just women who get caught up in a dream and words. Those are the kinds of women that they go for that are going to listen to their drivel. All right. Um, Friends who help you say they're gonna help you manage your money. They got some investment vehicles they gonna tell you about. They're gonna advise you on stocks and all this kind of stuff. They have a broker, an insurance agent, a real estate agent. They have all these personal friends of theirs. You don't use them people. Find your own people because you don't know who them folks are. A lot of people are scammers and they work in groups, so they change roles. Instead of they introduce you as their cousin or uncle or best friend or this and that. They none of the sort. They're all business partners, all scam artists together. And this is just the act that they put on to make you think that's what they are, but they're really not. That's what I was telling the lady on in the $200,000 question a couple of weeks ago. She was calling people that she thought was dude's friends, trying to find him. I'm like, I just those aren't his friends. Those are his business partners, and they probably split the money. But even if they did not, thanks Yasmin. Even if they didn't split it, they're not trying to get involved in that. There's about to be some feds involved with that kind of money. Mm-mm. And some of them may even threaten to file tax or court papers on you saying that you're defrauding somebody. Now, even though that's not true, you're still going to have to fight it because they're still going to do an investigation. And while they're investigating, they have a tendency to lock people's bank accounts up and stuff like that because, they feel like that might be their money that you took illegally. So it's going to put you in a really bad situation. So most women run scared when they do stuff like that. I had a guy that I was messing around with, and my mother used to own a daycare and stuff. And he to try to mess with me, he called the licensing agents on my mother and reported her saying that she was operating, illegally or in violation, some in violation of her license or something like that. And something told me that he was gonna do some raggedy shit like that. So I warned both of my parents. I said, this might come down to things, so you just be prepared. So the dude shows up and knocks on my mother's door, and so she lets him in and everything. And he says, oh, we got a complaint. And she says, let me guess, was it from blah, blah, blah? And he looked at his paperwork. He said, yes, how did you know? So she told him the whole story. So this was my own personal experience with somebody he couldn't get to me because, all my shit's locked up. He couldn't get to me. He couldn't do nothing to me. But what he did then was try to get to me through my mother. But I had already warned her. And her stuff was airtight. So they did their little Mickey Mouse investigation and then they closed the case. I don't know if anything ever happened to him, but that's how far they will go, these narky types of dudes, when they insist that you're going to give them what they want. Otherwise, you're going to pay. And so be very careful. Now, let's talk about another aspect of how they do to try to keep control over you and your resources and impact your finances. They will interfere with your employment, your current employment, or your future employment. Now, let me talk about how that goes. They want to basically control your ability to make money, improve your situation, improve yourself. That would help you make more money. They don't want you to make more money than them. They don't want you to make more money than they can, because they can feel like they can keep control over you and manage you better. So if you start, if you got a lot of money, see that it makes you, you're not gonna submit to them. Let me put it that way. You're not gonna listen to them because you got your own. They don't like you to have your own. That's all these women talking about. Oh, you should find you a rich man so you can be a stay-at-home mom and use your femininity to get these men and stuff. Those women are stupid as hell. I mean, I'm saying, you got it like that. You can certainly have that kind of situation, but always have your own shit. So don't ever depend on a man for everything. Don't do that to yourself and don't do that to your kids. You put yourself in this kind of situation that we're talking about today. And you would have done it willingly and voluntarily and without seeking it. What sense does that make? Where they do that at? Okay, so let's talk about how some of these ways that they get in your head and then make you not want to keep your job, quit your job, or never, really strive for improvement of your job. They will criticize your employment, your career choice, or your education. You see this a lot online. Them men don't care about degrees and this and that. No, stupid men don't. But men who want a woman who's intelligent, who has something to offer his child, who could possibly homeschool during a crisis such as we having right now, because she has the intellect and the education to do so. Someone who he can take around proudly to meet his CEO buddies and his doctor buddies and his engineer buddies, and she can hold a decent conversation and keep up with what they're talking about. Not embarrass him. Okay, now a man who's got that kind of stuff, that kind of career thing going on, his woman and her intellect and her position are very important part of the social scene. They have to match. Such a man is not going to get some woman who works at Dairy Queen. Oh, I don't know nothing about that. She mispronounces words. She looks a hot mess. She talks crazy. She has a poor vocabulary. She's stupid. The only thing that she does is look good. So you're going to have some cute, dumbass kids from this dumb broad with a poor understanding and poor lack of education. So, when a man says something like that and that we know they don't care about that, that's a stupid man. All he cares about is what a woman looks like. And you know what? So when she leaves you for somebody who got more money, don't say nothing. Don't say anything because you would have brought that on yourself. Okay. So they'll do that. Some of them will press you to quit your job. Some of them will press you to quit school. Tell you where you can and cannot work. They harass you. They call you at work. They text you at work, or they just show up at your job all the time. It throws you off. It makes you nervous. He always checking up on you. And if you don't text him back or call him back like right away, despite the fact that you're at work, he thinks you dealing with some man. There's something wrong. He starts accusing you of stuff. Some of you will feel like, oh my God, it's easier just to quit working. That's what he wants you to do. Um, they may sabotage your work projects and your responsibilities, keeping you up late arguing. I told you about the friend who had that happen to her, trying to get a promotion, right? Dude want to argue with her and stuff all night. She didn't have time to rehearse her presentation. So she flubbed it the next day. And along with that, losing that client lost her chance at a promotion, which was just what he wanted. He didn't want her to get a promotion and make $100,000 a month more and be traveling all over the country and have a title in her own office and her own secretary. He didn't want that because then she would have outshined him. So he wanted to keep her at the bottom. So that was a tactic that he used to make sure she failed. They'll prevent you from going to work by hiding your car keys. Some of them will remove the car battery. Some of them remove the distributor cap so you can't turn over the engine. It's not going to happen. They'll take your car without your permission, or they borrow it and they say they're going to bring it back in time for you to leave, but then they don't show up. So you can't go to work then, right? Of course, you could always, depending on how far you got to go, a bus, taxi, cab, Uber, whatever, but that's very expensive or it's going to take a lot of time. You might not have that time. Or sometimes you need him to watch the kids, right? The kids out of school, he got time off. He ain't working. He only working part time. You need to be here and watch the kids so I can go to work. And he don't show up. So again, he keeps you from being able to go to work. So you lose money. You see what I'm saying? You might lose your job if that happens enough. They're doing all of that on purpose. Now let's talk about another aspect of this kind of abuse. They will exert control over shared assets and resources. What does that mean? That means that you both put money into it. It belongs to both of you, but he's the only one controlling it. Okay. I don't understand how that happens, but it does happen. So you end up with very little access to the bank accounts and the money. You may not even know how much money you have. You don't know what bills you have. You don't know how much taxes you paid. You don't know how much the tax refund was. You don't really know anything. All you know is he says he's taking care of everything, and that's okay with you. So, how do you do that? Every financial decision that you make is met with condescension and criticism. Oh, is that what you thought? Well, that was a stupid decision. You should have done this and that. You know what? Don't be trying to think. Don't be trying to do nothing. I'll handle it because you don't know what you're doing. Right? Or he makes the large financial decisions without your input, though he, of course, expects you to help pay for it. I talked to this dude very briefly, honey. Let me tell you how this went. Okay, he was cool and everything, sexy. Oh, it was lovely until this one thing happened. And then I was done with him and in that instant, because I already knew what that meant. Okay, so we're talking, right? And he's like, well, when I get married, I'm gonna make the decision of like where we live. So me, I sat there for a minute because I'm like, okay, this he done took a left turn and left me. I'm okay. What do you mean? Says Deborah. What does that mean exactly? Well, that means I'm gonna decide where we live, and she just gonna have to go along with it. I said, oh, I see. So I said, but see, men don't really think about all the stuff like, okay, you're going to be working away. Is this neighborhood safe for a woman and children to be in by herself? Or is it high risk? Because you went for the property, for what was good price versus what's safe for a woman and children to be in by themselves while you gone. Do you think about the school district? How far away is the police station? How far away is the the fire station in case of an emergency? Where's the nearest hospital? Nearest grocery store? Is someplace you can walk to? Or do you have to drive everywhere? Are you thinking about those kinds of things at all? And how many cars this family gonna have? Is that gonna even be feasible? I had all these questions, right? And he just sat there because, of course, he hadn't thought about any of that. He was just all caught up in the glory of making the decision about where folks gonna live. And I told him I disagreed with that. If there's going to be any kind of situation going on where there's a decision that's going to impact the entire family, then the entire family needs to be involved in it. Maybe if the kids are too little, but it might be the woman and the husband and the wife, but still there's going to be more involved than just you. And he just had a problem with that. I said, well, let me get off the phone. And that was that. I haven't talked to him since. That was years ago. You know, what? Where they do that at? But yeah, honey, he was adamant that how it was gonna go down. I'm thinking, boy, you're gonna be living in that raggedy ass house by yourself. That's what's gonna happen. Okay, some of them refuse to collaborate on finances, investments. He wants to make all the decisions. Oh, you don't know anything about that, or you're too stupid, or that's my man's job. This and that. You go in there and make some biscuits. Or he hides or he takes joint funds and puts them into a private account that you don't know nothing about. He insists that you co-sign on a vehicle or a loan for him, or he gets it in your name altogether that you don't know nothing about it. So you have this magnificent debt. Or he insists that he has access to your income, but he doesn't do the same. He may take your paycheck or your government benefits that you get for the kids and use it on himself. Remember the case that just happened earlier this week? Where the dude demanded that he wanted to get the woman's tax, what they call that thing, that stipend thing that comes from the government. He already didn't pay child support, and then he wanted half of her money. And she told him, no, I'm using this for the kids. So he gets mad. He should start shooting everybody. So 3 or 4 people ended up dead because he was mad that she didn't give him her half of her money. I'm telling you, these something is wrong with these dudes. Some of them will force you to sign over a power of attorney, which gives him, of course, the power to enter contracts on sign your name without your knowledge or consent because you've given him that ability by signing that power of attorney. Of course, he could also forge it. It doesn't have to be a real power of attorney, but that happens too. Or he forced you to sell or add his name to or sign over to him things that you own before him, like inherited properties and money and trust accounts and things like that. Land. They want to be added to the deed. No, don't do that. Don't ever do that. It's just you own before you ever saw his face. Be sure you put your stuff in an LLC or a trust before you get married so that you keep your stuff separate from his. From anything that you accumulate as a couple, especially if you live in a community property state. Handle your business. Don't be blinded by your feelings. Handle your shit. Okay, like a G. You should have an accountant and you should have an attorney on the payroll, and you tell them what you want, they make it happen. It's airtight. Your shit is protected from this man and his shenanigans. He could try to plot every kind of little game he wants to, but he ain't gonna never get your shit. That's what you want. Okay. Some of them refuse to work. They don't want to contribute to the household income. They don't help do no chores. They don't do anything. The first time I heard about something like this happen, I was in college, and a slightly older girl got married, and that's when I was doing wedding photography for Doré Studios in San Francisco. So I did, her wedding pictures for the studio. Beautiful, beautiful gown. It was just her gown was from Paris. It was just phenomenal and everything. And so she had some high level position at the post office, some executive type position. And dude, I forgot what he did. But anyway, so her parents bought them a house in this richy part of San Francisco, not too far from them. And so her and dude moved into it. And as soon as they did, dude decided he was going to quit working. So he's sitting around the house drinking with his buddies and playing cards and dominoes and shooting the breeze, watching TV and whatnot all day. And so, he didn't want to do nothing. And that's why he tried to put everything on her. Her parents, since the house was still in their names, they gave dude the boot and kicked him on out of there. Yes, it was. Yeah, I worked there for a couple of years. That's who trained me to be a photographer. Audrey Ravel, she used to own Doré Studio. But I'm like, this is just unbelievable. I mean, dude, that's I was like, I don't know. 19, 20 when that happened. She was probably already, closer to 30. And I'll just never forget that because I had never seen no man do no mess like that. I couldn't believe it. But that's a true story. That's what he did. Some of them will control what you buy. They give you some Mickey Mouse amount of money, your allowance, right? So you can't buy what you need to buy, or they make you give a detailed accounting of what you're going to buy, and they only going to give you that exact amount of money. So can't have no extra. They'll ask for receipts and change to make you account for every dime that you spend. One way that this is coming up is these men who are demanding that if they give a woman child support for their kid, that she has to give him receipts for what she bought with it. How about you take this brat, and then you can have all the receipts you want to. I mean, you see that little $250 that you turning over don't do shit for this kid, especially a teenage boy. They eat that up in a week. So you ain't doing nothing for this kid. Ain't got the nerve to be demanding receipts? Get out of here. They withhold resources like food and medication, clothing, bathing, or shelter to make you easier to manipulate, especially, like I said, if you're in a situation where you're at his mercy because you're injured, you're sick, you had a stroke, you had a heart attack, just had a baby, you're fighting cancer, whatever, you're just some reason why you're not at your best and not your strongest, and they're gonna take full advantage of it. Uh He will insist that large joint purchases be in his name only. Homes, cars, leases, cell phone plans, everything. Anything that can help you build up credit, everything's in his name only. He will force you to sign finance related documentation without allowing you time to read them or an explanation. So you don't know what you're signing. You don't know what you're signing, but you're signing it because he told you to. These guys will evade or refuse to pay child support. They see it as giving you, quote, his money. Like kids eat for free? Kids don't never grow and don't never need new shoes and clothes. No, he's giving all the money you using on your hair and nails, ladies. That's what you're doing. And then some of them will drag out divorce proceedings and file, pleading after pleading because what they're trying to do is drag it out and have you spend up a lot of money and time, lose time from work and everything else, going through the court process to get rid of him. They just want to make you suffer. So, this is it's just amazing to me. How many of you have experienced that? Put that in the chat if you've experienced any of these things that I've talked about. I have some more stuff to go over too, but those are all a lot of examples that I have culled from our advice columns, from the last year. And, just thinking about different situations of, personal experience for me and women that I know. So, how can you know if you are being financially abused? I've given you plenty of examples. Maybe those things haven't happened to you or haven't happened yet, or you didn't realize that was what was happening. So, you need to ask yourself these questions. If your partner has ever done or tried to do any of these things, and I repeat, like I said at the top of the show, the list that I'm providing to you are not all inclusive. Don't think that just because it's not, I didn't say it, that means it's not happening. That's just, these are only the things that I could think of. Okay. I mean, given more time, I probably could have thought of some others. But I mean, how long do you want the show to be? Okay. We could be here all day. Let's not do that. So let's look at this list of things. Accuse you of cheating and being disloyal. That's one way to try to make guilt trip you into giving them stuff, right? Because you're not. But that's a setup. They try to make you feel worthless. They want to hurt you by hitting and choking and kicking you. They intimidate and threaten to hurt you if you don't get what they want or you don't give them what they want. They try to control what you do and who you see. They isolate you from friends and family. They pressure or force you into unwanted intimacies. They try to control your access to money, or they stalk you, including calling you constantly or following you around everywhere. So these are these are, the different types of common abuses. And a lot of these kind of things are designed to intimidate you into giving him what he wants. It could be your property, it could be signing like I said, adding his name to stuff, or you're signing a power of attorney, or giving him access to your bank accounts, giving him your PIN number. All of these things, hitting you, choking you, all of this stuff can be used to get that end result. Okay, in the meantime, you're dealing with emotional and physical abuse, which is designed to pressure you into giving him what he wants financially. You see how this works? There's no one abuse that's in isolation by itself. As a matter of fact, you know that abuse wheel thing? There's a lot of different versions of this, but I printed out one. And this one, it has so many different kinds of abuse. It's just unbelievable. Like emotional abuse, which we talked about, intellectual abuse. It says having to prove things to him. Mind games, demanding perfection, making you feel stupid. The guys do this a lot online, right? They make a stupid statement, and you say, no, that's not how it is. This and that, blah blah blah. Well, you have to prove it. You don't give me links. No, I'm not gonna do that. You want to disprove it. I say it's this way, and you say it's something else. So you want to prove me wrong? You figure it out. I'm not trying to do that because I already know that it's wrong because I have the facts in my head of what you're talking about. That's why I can say with confidence that you don't know what you're talking about. But you don't have the same. So that's on you, son. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not doing your work for you. Then there's financial abuse. There's pet and property abuse, psychological abuse. What does this say? Physical abuse, verbal abuse, sexual abuse, spiritual abuse, using your children against you, using your culture against you. So you see, there's a lot of different kinds of abuse that we don't even usually talk about. Now let me run this by you. I came across this on Facebook before we get back into my list. I read this on Facebook, and you guys can give your comments and your thoughts on this in the chat stream here. Keith and Tamika. Let me see. Uh, Let me see. Hold on a second. God, it's been so long since I used slides. Okay, there it is. That's the control power wheel I was talking about. But now we're talking about this image right here. It says Keith and Tamika just recently got married. Tamika is a second year neurosurgeon that makes $400,000 a year. Keith is a manager at Finish Line that makes $44,000 a year. And the wedding that she paid, after the wedding that she paid for, Keith moved into Tamika's house. She bought him a new Lexus to replace his old Honda Accord and even pays for a 2-week honeymoon to Jamaica. Keith loves Tamika with all his heart and vice versa, and they are happy together. But all Tamika's friends say she is stupid. Being that Keith is the man, is there a problem with their financial arrangement? If they're in love, does the money difference make them unequally yoked? Ladies, if you were Tamika, or fellas, if you were Keith, could you play that role? What do you think? I think Tamika needs to put her house in a trust and any money she put aside for her kids in a trust and her retirement accounts in a trust and everything else that she owned in a trust so that when Keith starts saying he feels emasculated and he can't handle it and he wants a divorce and he's taking half, he only gonna get half of whatever she made in her salary that year. That's all he gonna get. That would be my recommendation to Tamika. And yeah, everybody, of course, he in love. He in love because you make 10 times as much as he does, damn near 9 times. So it's like, why would you think that he wouldn't be um in love? Oh, definitely a prenup. But even, you don't even need a prenup because if you put your shit in a trust, you don't need a prenup. Trusts are better than prenups. Prenups, they be trying to argue in court to break them. You ain't going to break nobody's trust. So you forget that. Put your shit in a trust. Don't worry about a prenup. Don't put too much stock in that. Okay. Those have iffy kind of uh, things. But she's a neurosurgeon. Why are you not marrying another doctor, an attorney, an engineer, a CEO, something like that? She gonna get some Finish Line manager. Somebody just like basic. I don't know, but that's up to her. I mean, all I can say is dude must be slanging. Dude is slanging, and girlfriend is you know, sprung. Okay, so I couldn't do it. He wouldn't even be able to live with me. So now let's talk about personal financial abuse and how narcissists do this. Because you do keep in mind now, all these men that I'm talking about, these are narcissists. In case this that escaped you, okay, these are all narcs. They take great delight in destroying your personal possessions, particularly ones that mean a lot to you. This one girl says, my ex burned all of my poetry from my graduate program. I did not recover copies for 2 decades. Or they steal from you and other family members. This one girl says, I did not know until 20 years after our marriage that he had stolen checks from his father to finance our honeymoon. They appropriate any money or gifts that were given to you. She says, I was never allowed to keep or spend any birthday gifts on myself. In fact, he once kicked me and my daughters out for spending the $100 his parents had given me for my birthday on groceries. Trying to feed the kids. It's not like she went out and bought a purse. She bought food for your children and you going to kick them out the house. And she didn't divorce him, I'm assuming. Or they rigidly control all aspects of the money, despite the fact that I was the only wage earner, she says. For the majority of our marriage, financial abuse, my ex would ravage my purse for receipt for Diet Cokes on the days I worked 12 or more hours. He once threw a fit over my purchasing potatoes at 10 cents a pound more than he had authorized. Or they may refuse to pay your bills, she says. After I left, my credit had been destroyed from his refusal to pay my medical bills. Even though she was working and contributing money, he wanted to keep the money for himself, not pay her medical bills. He wanted that to be on her shoulders. They use institutional financial abuse. They will open secret bank accounts or refuse you to have access to money or financial records. They open credit cards in your name. This one just says, I have a friend whose ex did this, and after the marriage was over, she found herself with tens of thousands of dollars of debt. All the while he had claimed he was receiving bonuses. Or they lie about debt and hide their finances. Often they will blame their victims for poor spending habits to deflect from their own expenditures. And they open credit accounts in their children's names, as I mentioned earlier. Then there's tax fraud and employment financial fraud, where they try to keep you from working. They sabotage your educational opportunities. They harass you at work and undermine you with your coworkers or boss. And this is the interesting thing here. It says most women are too embarrassed to report these kind of crimes to the police. They just eat it. So, according to DOJ stats, only 7 to 10% of all such crime are reported to law enforcement. Y'all need to start singing like canaries and telling everything. Tell everything. So, how do they get so much money out of women? This is the part that you've probably been waiting for. We run down the games. I told you all the things that happen, but now I'm gonna tell you how they get you in that position. What kind of things do they do or say that has motivated these women to respond in the way that they responded that gave these guys all this power and authority over them? I'm going to tell you. Now, keep in mind that, like I said earlier, anybody can fall for a scam. There can be any socioeconomic, look any kind of way, have any kind of money or wealth, education, that doesn't matter. They're just looking for women that have certain kinds of personality traits or mental states because it makes you an easier target. They, and remember that, you know, when you're looking at being handled by one of these guys, I hate to use that word, but that's essentially what it is. You're being handled, managed by them. They are looking for a woman who's going to be in her feelings. They're looking for women that they're easy to manipulate emotionally. I done told y'all 55 bazillion times to never show your emotions to men. You cannot do it. You cannot do it. Once they know that they can yank you around emotionally, it's over for you. It's a wrap. Okay, there's a video here called Control Your Emotions. Please listen to it. I tell you how to do that, the things that you need to think about, how you need to get your mind right. You cannot let dudes get in your head like this because it just makes you a target, it makes you a victim. Okay, they yank you around too much. You're too easy to control and manipulate with just some tired, raggedy games. And it's always the same shit. But if you the kind of woman that be in your feelings all the time about everything, you're gonna be you got like a target on your forehead. I just want you to know you better get your mind right and stop walking on. I have my heart on my sleeves, and you actually had the nerve to be proud of that dumb shit. That's not anything that you need to be bragging about. You need to keep that a secret. Don't even write it in your diary because somebody might find it and read it. Keep it to yourself and do everything you can to change that. So, they're gonna play to your emotions, okay? They're not playing to your intellect. They're playing to your emotions. So if you are the kind of woman who is very more intellectual and you think you gonna miss out on 99% of the stuff. They might get you for a little bit here and there, but it's not gonna be on no grand theft scale like they do for women who are very easy to manipulate by their feelings. They're hungry for something, and that's what they're looking for. So let me go over some of these. Number one, they look for women with low self esteem, women who are people pleasers, women who are nice, quote, nice, and who are givers by nature. That's what they look for. And they can ferret that information out because they're good at it. They're narcs. They can tell. They know what kind of questions to ask. They can tell just by looking at you. If they hit you with the right words, how you respond to them. And they already know what you are like because you don't have no game. You don't have no street smarts. You just operate like out of your feelings about every damn thing. So they can read you like a book. And I'm telling you, you use the word soulmate, it's a wrap. Any of you who think like that, you're just walking around just waiting to get taken. Okay? Because they already know. You emotional heifer. You operate in your emotions. And you are going to be victimized like this if you haven't already, time and time and time again. Okay? So he knows if you that kind of woman, you're very generous, right? And you want to help people. So they're gonna hit you with, well, I would love you more if you did X, Y, and Z. The people that I love the most do blah blah blah. Number two, they seek out women who are looking for love. You love romance and you need to be loved and you need attention and you need validation and you want to feel excited about the man that you with. So he love bombs the hell out of you, showering you with words of love and affection and all kinds of future talk. He sweeps you off your feet. He may proclaim that you're the woman he's been looking for his entire life and talk about marriage and children and all of that like right off the bat and you bite. Number three, women who love to run their mouths. They're looking for them types that want to just share every damn thing. You want to tell everything. They get you talking and telling them all your business. Everything from how many men you slept with to how much money you have to who beat you in your childhood and abused you. I mean, you tell them everything. You tell them everything. And they know exactly how to manipulate you, exactly what to say to you, because you have given them a map by opening your mouth and telling too much of your business. I'm telling you, the only person that needs to know all that stuff is your shrink, okay? A professional, not your friends, not your mama, not your sister, not your man ever, okay? Never tell them anything. They get you to talking, so they build up false intimacy, right? Because it's early. Like if you just met him and stuff, you on your second or third date, he know your whole story. You done told him everything, including how bad your menstrual cramps get sometimes. Oh, you talk too much. You tell everything. You just talk, 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 talk. So basically, by you telling this stuff, it's building this false sense of intimacy and it's breaking down your barriers because now you've told him all the stuff that you feel close to him. You all purged. You feel like, oh, we bonded. He didn't say nothing. He was just listening. He just soaking it up. So he's making mental notes about how he gonna put you through some changes, right? A lot of times they'll tell you a little something here and there, but most of them stories that they be telling you, they made them up on the spot. Or they have an arsenal of stories that they tell, bleeding heart type women because they know it's going to like stir up your sympathies and stuff. It's going to put you in this frame of mind where you're like, "Oh my God, he's a wounded bird. I want to take care of him. I want to make him better, faster, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. I can do that. I can show him that my love will heal him." And he knows it. He's sitting across the table looking at you like, "Ooh, I got her. I'm going to be all knee deep up in her wallet. I'm going to take everything she ever thought she had. Because she don't know how to keep her mouth closed." Some of you, I even did a survey, and it's an article on my Surviving Dating blog whenever I get it back up. I changed hosting companies. I just haven't really have time to work on it. But on the blog, which will be back online eventually, I have an article called "Are Black Women Stupid?" And it's a horrible title, but the reason I had to ask it is because I went online, right, and I asked women, okay, if you're dating a guy, you just met this dude, right, and he asked you how much money you make, would you tell him? Okay, that was my question. I didn't put nothing else on it. I was shocked at how many women said yes. Yes, I would tell him. Well, why wouldn't I tell him? They said, silly, with their little silly thinking. Well, he asked me, so I'm gonna tell him. Why? Why would you do that? Why does he need to know that? And they're like, well, because we there's a potential here for a relationship. So based on potential relationship, not a real relationship yet, because you just met the clown, you gonna tell him all kind of business like that? Like, don't you know about identity theft? And you gonna tell him where you work and your full name and all this? He gonna know where you live and I mean, you gonna tell him all that stuff? So clown, you just met off the internet. Are you for real right now? Oh, why wouldn't I tell him though? He asked me. I'm thinking, wow. So that's why that article, because all the people that answered was black and they was all stupid, saying that yes, they would tell him. I was like, ooh, Lord have mercy. I have worked a lot of work to do. This was years ago though, and I have worked on that since, but I don't know. Okay, they look for women who are lonely. Right? Women who feel like they have to have a man, that they're not complete unless they have a man. Oh, he gonna come in with his fairy cape, godfather cape on and waving his magic wand. Just grant all your wishes is gonna be coming true. He gonna make all kind of promises to you. I'll go tell you everything that you want to hear. You gonna be really thinking you hit the jackpot. So then he gonna hit you up for some money and you gonna give it to him. Because all the stuff he said. One of the favorite things they say, well, he say this and he say that. I'm like, girls, we can use the correct tense here. It's he said, okay, not say. But that's the phrase. Well, he say this and he say that. I'm like, woo. And you never occurred to you that he's lying, huh? So, when women are real lonely like that and real needy for male companionship, they tend to ignore red flags. They ignore the things that he does. They ignore when the stories don't match up. They ignore him making promises that he doesn't keep. They ignore him not coming through, and they ignore other red flags like they can't find him. They ignore all of that stuff because they're so focused on what he say, and these stories that he gave them about what's going to be happening in the future. So they're keeping hope alive. Hope, I'm telling you, hope is a very dangerous word for women. So they're keeping hope alive based on what these stories, these yarns he spin. And so they are focusing on that instead of what's right in their face. They're not paying attention to what he's doing. They're paying attention to what he said. Okay? Because he say. I'm like, wow. I don't want to hear you say nothing. I just want to see what you're going to do. I'm the exact opposite. And then older women, they focus on older women as victims because, usually like 50, 55 and over because they tend to have more resources, right? Some of them have been married or divorced. They're getting their husband's pension if he's died. They have insurance accounts. They work. They about to retire, whatever. They got a pension coming in. They're going to have Social Security coming in. Plus, they 401ks and Keoghs and all this old stuff. They own the house. They own the cars. They might have two cars. They have stuff. They have stuff. And so they're a better bet to some little 20-year-old, baby mama type. See, she don't really have nothing. But these, established women, they have stuff. And so they're going to make them a target. They be hitting them up online and stuff. And, they're going to, And they tend to be overly trusting, especially those who have been married for a long time because the only man that they really dealt with for the last 30 years was their husband. Well, that's a whole different kind of relationship, even though he might have been trifling too. He not going to be as trifling as these dudes are out here nowadays. They like a whole new level of trifling. They come from like Trifling Planet or something. I don't know what's going on, but it's just some amazing stuff be going on. They also look for women. These I'm talking about how they target women to do these financial scams and cons, and to set you up to use you for your money. Okay, that's the list I'm going over right now. This is point six. Women, they look for women in a state of emotional upheaval, like you just broke up from a long-term relationship, you just lost a kid, your parents just died, you got in a bad car accident, you can't work, and you're in a lot of pain, you're suffering, can't do stuff for yourself, you kind of struggling there. You lost your job, you worried about the future. They're looking for women who are in some kind of state where they feel weakened and vulnerable. You don't have your normal strength, you don't have your normal confidence. Your world's kind of rocked. They look for that because that makes it easier for you to be victimized. Your defenses are down. You're more needy than you would ever be. So he comes in representing himself as he's going to be somebody that's going to save you, right? And then the next thing you know, you worse off than you were before you ever saw his face. Number seven, you believe in helping your man because you want to be a helpmeet and all of that stuff. And he will set you up, right? They asking for gifts. It's usually little stuff. Oh, babe, can you get me, a gift card to Amazon? Because, my son, it's his birthday and I don't really have any money right now, but I want to get him a little something. So you get those $50, $100 gift cards. You feel good about doing it. It's for a kid, you say to yourself. You don't want the kid to not have something for his birthday just because his dad's having a little struggle right now. So you step in, right? Or iTunes and Amazon cards tend to be the most popular. They don't really mess with the like Bank of America, Visas, and all that kind of stuff. They don't do that too much. Or he's going to ask for you to send him some money so he can buy a ticket and come see you. This is a typical online scam. So the ticket, it's $1,500. So you wire him the $1,500 by Western Union, and then something happened, I can't go. Oh, whatever. They have some sob story why they can't go, or something happened to the money, he got robbed, something. So here you go. You're gonna send it to him again because you that desperate to see him, right? Or they ask you for some intimate pictures or videos, or they might take it, maybe if it's somebody that you know and actually are seeing, they're going to take these videos and these pictures of you in these various states of undress and compromising positions. You know why they're going to do this? They can blackmail you later. Why you let some fool do that to you? I ain't taking shit. You ain't taking no pictures of me. Any pictures you going to have of me, I'm going to be fully clothed. That's it. That's all you get. And if that's not going to work for you, I don't know what to tell you. You don't get nothing then. But they want, or then here they go, right? They start when they want to start. Okay, so they borrow something or they ask you to charge something. This is the setup. So they do this, right? It's something small at first. I don't know. I need uh I don't know, some medicine. I need, to get my car fixed. I need something. I don't have the money right now, babe. Can you, cover for me? And then I'll pay you back when I get paid. Okay, and then they do, right? They pay you back the first couple of times. So you think, oh, it's all, this is okay. He comes through when he says he's going to. He's never been late, and he always gives me that much or more, right? That's how they set you up. So then here come the big thing. Well, the big ask. Well, I need $20,000. I need, whatever your financial ability is. I need five things. It could be $5,000. It could be $1,000. It could be $200,000, like the other lady got taken for. It all depends on what your financial ability is. But whatever it is, he's gonna do the small build up first to develop your trust, and then he's gonna hit you with the big ask, and then that's when he's gonna take your money and disappear. That's how they always do it. It's always the same. It's always the same. They can't come out the box with the big stuff right away. They got to build up your trust first, right? So what person just gonna give somebody, 200,000, 300,000, $500,000? Not gonna do that. You have to build up to it. It's just a test of your vulnerability and your willingness to please and your lack of boundaries. That's what all of that is. Okay. Number 8, naive women who have no game or street smarts, like the sheltered type. They look for you because they know you just got like you easy pickings. They use a lot of neurolinguistic programming kind of tactics on you. They mirror your language. They mirror your speech patterns. They mirror your body language. They use your name a lot because you'll see like if you out with a dude, right? Most people don't call you by your name that much, but here they are. Okay, so say my name is Diana. I said, "Oh, Diana, it's so good to meet you. Hey, Diana, why don't you tell me a little bit more? Diana, what kind of drink would you like? Well, Diana, how do you like this food? Well, Diana, can I get your number?" So you see, he's using your name a lot, and for a lot of people, for most people, they love hearing their name, and it feels personal to them, and it feels like they're close to somebody. And so, like people here, they will call me Deb. They call me Deb, but okay. Everybody calls me that. Everybody calls me Deborah, Miss Deb. I mean, I have all kind of nicknames. You can call me whatever you want to. You could even call me MF and all this. I will answer to everything. But you know what? It all means the same thing to me. I'm not tripping about you using my name. It doesn't matter to me. The only time I want you to worry about what my name is if you write me a check. I want it to be accurate so I can cash that bad boy. Other than that, I don't care what you call me. This just rolls off of my back like water. It is zero. So when dudes start doing that, I be looking at them because I know what they doing, right? I'm just looking at them like, oh, here we go with the bullshit. And I'm just smiling and just looking at him and just thinking, I'm about to dump this fool because he don't understand who he dealing with. He think I'm born yesterday. You don't know if I done made up the games. You can't tell me nothing. Every game on, I've seen everything. And so it's like, sometimes I go along with it though, just because I want to have something to talk about and have some new examples, some new stories for you guys when I come on the show. But this they ain't coming up with nothing new. They ain't coming up with nothing new. They haven't come with nothing new in 40 years. I swear, it's the same shit over and over. Okay, let's look at number 9. You accept his weak excuses and the promises that he makes, but that he never seems to keep. He makes promises but breaks them, and he's doing that intentionally. It's a test. Remember I told you about the dude who came to my house? He's supposed to bring the wine, and he had this smirk like, "Oh, I didn't get it," kind of thing. And it's like he was expecting me to just let him eat anyway, even though he didn't invest the $15 for the wine I told him to get me. Oh no, you don't get to eat. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying you can't eat, but you're not going to eat here. You're not eating my food. You can go on this Jack in the Box. It's a taco place across the street. I mean, a Japanese restaurant down the block. Trader Joe's. I mean, they have salads in a bowl. You can take that out. No, I don't know what to tell you, homeboy, but you ain't even here because you didn't keep up your end of the deal. You made me a promise and you didn't keep it. So that I'm off the hook. I don't have to keep mine either. And that was how that went down. But a lot of you won't do that. You'll let him break his promises, and you just like, oh, that's okay, and you just go on with the relationship. Well, now he knows that you a mark, that you don't have no confidence, no self-esteem, no backbone, that he don't mean nothing you say. Whatever he tells you, you gonna bite. That's what that means, because you let him get away with it. You don't let clowns get away with shit. I keep telling y'all, you got to ride them like they are a fucking horse. Okay, get your riding crop and beat his ass. You don't let men do not come through for you like that. If they're gonna behave in some kind of egregious way towards you like that, you get rid of them. You don't reward them with your presence and reward them with your body, your cooking, your cleaning, your love, your time, your conversation. Nothing. He gets nothing. If he does not give you what you want, he's not giving you the relationship that you want. He's got to go, and that's just it. That's just it. You got to be real tough like that with these men. You cannot give them nothing that if they're not keeping what they promised you, they're keeping up their end of the bargain. You got to demand more. And if you demand more, once they fall off like that, you dump them. You don't let them get away with it. One trick. Number 10. He manipulates you so that you stop spending so much time around even talking to your friends and family. Why does they want to do that? Because they're gonna throw those family members are gonna be like, dude, that don't sound right. Are you sure? I don't think you should be doing that. Well, girl, you might want to check that out. That sounds kind of crazy. They're going to be coming comments like that. He sounds like he's trying to use you. They're going to say something like that. They're going to throw salt in his game. He don't want you to be around people that's got your best interest at heart and that love you and care about you. He wants you to just be around him, so he is the sole person influencing you and talking to you, and he's the only one in your ear. And so you listening to all his crazy conversation and not taking care of yourself, and you're curtailing your contact with these people who could help you figure out that this is some bullshit, and he don't want that. Number 11, your relationship is totally out of balance. You give way more than you get back. But since you're such a happy little giver, you just like that acknowledgement of you giving to somebody, then you want people to like you and you want to be nice to them. And so you don't want to complain or act like you don't even notice because you don't want to rock the boat. You don't want him to go away. You want everybody to like you. Number 12, they slowly take over your life. They ask permission for you. They want you to ask him permission for everything. He has control of your money, he has control of your car, and control of your house, and he has all the power in the relationship. That's why when I've had women friends who, they were fine before, then they get this dude right. Suddenly they can't do nothing unless they ask Roger. Oh, you know what? I need to ask Roger, if I could go. How old are you? 42 years old, and you asking your daddy for permission to go someplace? Is that what we're doing here? Well, I was gonna cut my hair, but Roger don't want me to cut my hair. He likes my hair long. Well, I was gonna dye my hair, but Roger don't want me to dye my hair because he likes my hair just this color. Everything is about getting permission from Roger to make decisions that they have to do with you. I was gonna buy a new car. I really wanted, this Lexus, but the Mercedes Benz drop top. But Roger doesn't think we should spend that kind of money, so I'm just gonna get a Honda. I love Hondas, don't get me wrong, but trust me, if I had the money to buy a BMW drop top, I would be so in that car, but I'd still keep my Honda anyway. Or number 13, you believe that men can be knights in shining armor and that getting married is the end all and be all and your ultimate success as a woman. If he finds out you think like that, it's over for you. I'm telling you, it's just over for you. I just can't even tell you how over it is for you. Okay, so now let's look at um, romance scams. Wow, I really did a lot. This how long? Wow. Ooh, this show is long. Okay. Well, I'm kind of near the end. Let's move on to romance scams. This is where since a lot of you do online dating, this is the primary way that they get to you. Even if they're not doing this to you and they wait until after you already date them to start doing the things that I already listed, the bottom line is, for a lot of people, the scams start in is it money? I haven't been to church in 30 years, so I don't know, but or longer. But this is my idea of what church should be like to educate you on practical things that's going to help you change your life for the better. And for women, the needs of a Sunday sermon for women is vastly different than it is for men. I think personally that there should be two different types of there should be service for women and there should be service for men. I got the service for the women. Somebody else can have it for the men. I don't know what to tell you, but that's how we gonna roll. Okay. There's a lot here. You really need to take notes. You guys should have your same little notebook that you had for February and put all your notes from these shows in one place. That's what you should do. So you have like a resource guide. Okay. Now let's talk about romance scams. Remember that movie Dirty John that came out last year? That movie was like, I mean, it was a real story. It's a perfect example of how the dudes would play the long game, right? Because he got her married. I mean, that dude was masterful. And that woman was stupid as hell. But, there's guys, he played the long game, but there's dudes that'll get into your head and into your pocket in just a matter of weeks if you're that kind of woman that I just went over. Those 13 type personality types, those traits, you have that going on, they're going to be all over you just real, real quick. So, this is a story of a guy who's kind of like Dirty John, but his name is Arturo. He was a very popular hairstylist in a very wealthy part of Southern California called Beverly Hills, which we, probably shouldn't name, but okay. He was charming and he was very attentive to the widows and older women, and he often asked clients who seemed well off out to dinner. Because people sit in a hair chair, they're beautician. People sit in that chair. You start massaging their scalp. They start talking. They tell you everything. Hairdressers know so much of people's personal business, but people be talking too much. You should be sitting there reading a magazine or playing on your phone, not running your mouth to your hairdresser because you don't know who your hairdresser knows or what kind of scam artists is your hairdresser be hanging out with. Okay? So anyway, this guy was charming and attentive, and he would take these women out to dinner, right? And during these meals, he would talk about his financial woes. Some customers would give him their bank account information and put him on their accounts, quote, just in case. Arturo helped three of these wealthy women manage their real estate investments. Two of them even made him a joint owner of their homes. When one customer died, the executor discovered that her bank and investment accounts were depleted and her home now belonged to Arturo, and heirloom jewelry was missing. The executor contacted APS, local law enforcement, and the FBI. Okay. But is that going to get any of the stuff back? Maybe some of it if he hasn't, sold it to some already sold it and, whatever. She could probably they could get the house back because it was still there. And, but, who knows where that money is? So, most of the time when it's stuff like that, it just happens. Like I said, women are the primary targets, and older women are the ones who are like sitting ducks. They're lonely. They're used to being, having a man around. They've been married for 30, 40 years. Their husband dies. They're suddenly by themselves. They don't know what to do. There's a lot going on. I'm not doing this like crazy. I mean, there's a lot going on mentally there and emotionally that these people are going to offer to fill a void. So if you're in that kind of situation, ladies, you got to really take care to protect yourself and, make sure that your stuff is set up, so that there's crossing checks and balances. And any accounts that you have, there should require two signatures for any transaction, at least two. Some people have set up three. So, so that nothing happens without two other people being involved. Okay. There are certain things that online dating scammers do that you should be on the lookout for if you do online dating. Number one, they're very good at extracting information from your profile to determine what kind of woman you are. They want to know if you sound lonely, if you sound needy. Do you talk about your profession so he can tell how much money you make? Do you talk about what you own or your drive? You got pictures of you standing by your car. You got pictures of you on your vacation to Rome, Italy, Greece, and you talking about, oh, we were there for a month or two. Okay, anybody could do that. You got some money. Okay, you sitting up there with this late model, fancy $60,000 car. Everybody ain't able, so he gonna be looking at all that. And you put all this on the internet. You got a picture of your new kitchen that you just put in. The kitchen is huge, so obviously the house that fits the kitchen is even bigger, right? And you talking about how your kids are all grown down the house, you got empty nest syndrome. You just be talking all kind of stuff, putting all your business out on the internet. Stop doing that. You post pictures of your vehicles or your home, and those of you who are just totally blind and post pictures of your children. Or you talk about how old your children are. You a pedophile's dream come true. Cause he just go down the list and try to who's in his target, who got a kid in his target age range and he's interested. Oh, her. She got a 10-year-old daughter. That's perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Hi. Don't you understand what you're doing? Keep your mouth closed and keep your kids off the internet. Number two, he pushes you to start communicating with him outside of the dating app and on social media site that he found you on. He wants you off of their platform into the free world so he can talk about whatever he want to talk about. Because any exchanges that's on those sites, they monitor those. They look for certain keywords. Okay, so they have fraud, fraud and criminal kind of scanning that they be doing. So once he gets you off of that platform, you've lost that site's protective cover, and now he can tell you whatever he wants to and set you up. Whereas if he stayed on there, they have those programs that scan responses and stuff, and they would pick up on something that sounded suspect, and they would reach out to you to protect you. So you got to be careful about that too. Number three, he's going to claim after meeting you that he's leaving the dating app or he's canceling his subscription because he has found the woman of his dreams. You are it. You're the one. Okay, how many letters have we had that come through here where the women were dismayed to find that the guy's profile was still up? He told me he had closed the account. He told me that he was going to get off the dating app and that I was the only one. Okay, well he told you that, but you see it's not true. So now what you gonna do? Why are you writing me? You should have fired him and just wrote me a letter and said, Deb, I'm not one to have a question. I just want to let you know about how trifling this boy was. Let me tell you what this clown did. Okay, so we can have a good laugh. That's what you should be doing. Not writing me to ask you what you should be doing when you know he's a liar. Number five. I'm sorry, number four. He offers to send you more pictures of himself in exchange for your contact information. Because you want to be able to talk to him. You want to be able to see him on the Zoom or whatever, the little video camera thing, WhatsApp. You want to be able to see his face. So he said, well, if you send me more pictures of yourself, um, I want some full body pictures. I want some topless pictures. I want this and you like a dummy send it to him because you so desperate for that phone number. Number five, he may offer to send you food from Uber Eats or DoorDash for your online date, right? Because you're gonna have your Zoom date, and but by you doing that, you try to get this free meal. He has your home address, right? Because it's on his DoorDash account, right? And you've done that to yourself. So don't say nothing when he comes showing up at your house in the middle of the night, waiting for you in the parking lot, all kind of crazy shit like that nutcases do. You don't ever do that. If you that desperate for a meal, go down to the soup kitchen. Okay, those whatever they got them little, the little pantries where they give poor people food. If you that desperate for some food, or go to your mama's house. Most mothers have extra food. You can go grocery shopping at your mama's house if you that desperate for a meal. Okay, don't set yourself up like this. Or they tell you, number six, they tell you that he's looking for this serious long term relationship right off the bat. Some of them, like in their first response, like they say, hello, beautiful, this and that, blah, blah, blah. I'm looking for a long term relationship. I see you are too. Okay, so he's talking that stuff. He's talking that smack that you've been wanting to hear. Oh my God, he's looking for just what I'm looking for. And you believe it. That's why you don't put that in your profile. Whatever it is, I mean, no matter what it ultimately ends up, you're not looking for anything serious. Okay, I'm not looking for anything serious. I just want to, date around and see what's out there. Number seven, he works in oil or he works in construction or mining or engineering or he claims to be a soldier in Afghanistan. Something that's going to put him outside the country, something that sounds plausible. I mean, I know a bunch of engineers, they all work for Bechtel and different things. So they was building bridges and doing construction and stuff all over the world. And that's how Bechtel is an international corporation. And it was real. I mean, this was their real job. I mean, because these are guys I went to school with and stuff. I know for a fact that they work for Bechtel, and I know for a fact that they're traveling all over the world. However, these guys will tend to adopt that persona, even though it's not true. They're not. They don't even know how to spell Bechtel. Okay, and they claiming that they work in construction, they're building this, they're an engineer, they doing all stuff. And the worst ones are the ones who claim that they're soldiers in Afghanistan, and that's why they can't talk to you on the phone because their CO won't let them use the phone, and they could get in trouble for that. So they can only write you, and you believe it. Okay, because he got to be, he won't be able to see you for months and months, but he'll talk to you then while he works up to ask you for stuff to send him stuff. And they blow up your head. This is number eight. They're gonna blow up your head with never ending compliments about what you look like and his growing romantic affection for you. His love is building. I think I'm in love with you, he will say. And I'm like, how you think that you in love? Either you is or you ain't. What you talking about? They had that real bad in Jamaica. I used to go there all the time. And just I I used to make all so many jokes about it because everybody was named Winston, and I told everybody my name was Stella. It was pretty bad, but yeah, over there it's like they all trying to get to the U.S. right, and so they was always, oh, I think you done went on one date when I'm gonna talk to them for 20 minutes. I think I'm in love with you. Really? What do you like about me though? And they start making up some stuff that don't have nothing to do with me. Like you're so sweet. I know you ain't talking about me. I don't have a sweet bone in my body. Well, this and that. Just scam talk. Yeah, it's some script. It's all this. This is what they do. This is what they do. But if you're not up on game, this is going to be new to you. This is all new to a lot of women. They've never heard this before, and that's why I be trying to tell you all these games. It's so many. I can't even think of. I mean, there's just millions of different scams and games that men run on women. It's just endless. And it's always about getting your money or getting some booty or living in your house for free or getting access to your kids. It's usually one of those four things. And sometimes it's a combination thereof. But in any instance, it's always dangerous for you to be a woman and not no be up on game. Okay, because you just walking through the world just all, willy nilly and la di da, you're gonna be a victim every single time. Okay, number 9. They delve into your pain and your grief. So he knows that you're an emotional tornado and you're very easy to manipulate. If he comes, you all upset, right? And he comes in trying to calm you down, you get attached to him. You get emotionally attached because he's being nice to you. He's saying that he's supporting you. Emotionally, that's what you feel like anyway. He's like your emotional support dog. And you up there all attached to him. And so when he starts asking you for stuff, of course you're likely to give it to him because he's been there for you. So, I need to be there for him, you say. I'm like, you might have been there for me, but I don't need to be there for you. I'm going to need to be here for myself because I'm still not healed. Number 10, he shares his story and quote information about himself, but so that right away you feel like you know him, and it's like you've known him forever and all this old stuff. In reality, 99% of that shit they be telling you they made up or they found on the internet somewhere. It's just a story designed to yank at your heartstrings and make you feel pitiful. They make him appear to be pitiful so that you feel sorry for him and give him stuff, do stuff for him, let him get away with the stuff he's trying to get away with. I'm telling you, these dudes, it's like these, I think seriously, one of my brothers was telling me a couple of weeks ago, it's like, I think you just seen too much. It's hard. It's going to be hard for a dude to come in and really be with you because you already know all the games. He can't do nothing. He can't get away with nothing. I said, you're right. But all the way around that is just be real. Be real with me. He's like, oh, that's too hard. That's too hard. Me can't do that. And then we was laughing about it, but I was thinking about it later. It's like, ooh, he might have a point. But I can't undo what I know. You know what I mean? I can't take it out of my brain. It's already there. I've seen what I've seen and I've heard what I heard. And one thing that I just don't want to be bothered with is men who play stupid games. I don't have time. That's why I be telling, spending so much time and energy explaining to you younger ladies, because I don't want you to be took like this. I want you to get took like this. I want you to be like the queen of the world, to go out here and know everything that's coming and be ready to rock and roll and to slice and dice. So you're not going to let them get away with not one trick, mistreating you, talking to you crazy, using you, doing nothing to hurt you. I want you to understand. So when you see it coming, you know what to do. Okay, a lot of you tell me all the time. I had found you 10 years ago, 7 years ago. Before I married this fool, before I found out, no, my parents didn't tell me anything. You know how many thousands of times I've heard that? My parents didn't tell me anything. Well, your Auntie Deb is telling you. Okay, so I want you to understand. You got to know. You got to know. Number 11, he says weird things that leave you puzzled and throw you off. These are things that are huge red flags. Now, here are the few things women have ignored that their men said to him before they got fleeced. Okay. If I knew I wouldn't go to jail for it, I would kill you. Making it like a joke. And so she's sitting there like, what? Is that supposed to be funny? Is that a joke? You know what I would have done? I would immediately call the police and had him tossed out of my house, out of my life. Get all your shit, get out. That's nothing to laugh about. It's like if I thought I could get away with it, well, it's a good thing you can't because now that I know you thinking like that, I'm going to have to call all my thug cousins, All the goons I know, and I'm gonna tell them that's what you said, so they'll be on the lookout for you. So if anything happens to me, you can bet. Don't expect to live another day because it's not gonna happen. Are you ready for that? So we can do that. That's not a problem. And you can bet that's what I would do too. Because it's like, you gonna sit up there and try to do this veiled threat. Let me veil threat you back. And it's just one of you. It's about 40 of these niggas that I know. So they're gonna be looking for you. I got your picture, I got pictures of us together. I know where you live. I know where you work, I know your driver's license number. I know the license plate number of your car. They gonna find you. Now you ready? You ain't gonna get away with shit. You might get away with, you could do it. I can't tell you can't do it, but you're gonna pay with your life. And I'm gonna make sure your mama pays with hers and all your kids pay with theirs too. Everybody in your family is gonna die if anything happens to me. Now, is that still funny? I don't know. These dudes, I mean, she was telling me this, and I'm just sitting there like, I could tell she didn't know what to do with it. I already knew what I would do with it, but that's what I'm telling you. Don't back down and go get scared. Don't get mad, get even. Okay, he want to threaten you, threaten him right back. Number B, he's gonna tell you to step away because I'm about to get physical and you don't want to see that. One of my friends on the East Coast had her boyfriend tell her that. Because you about to see a side of me that you don't want to see. He tells her. Now, not knowing that she's crazy, this girl is a nut. So if he gonna go there, he better be prepared because she's not the kind to take it. He's likely to be the one that be in the casket, not her. She's not wrapped too tight. But yeah, that's what he said to her. Or number C, if you knew who I really was, you wouldn't love me. So that shows you right there, he's hiding who he really is and that he's a cray cray. Okay, somebody say some shit like that to you. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to dump him on the spot. That's what you're supposed to do. Some kind of con man. You have no idea all the things I'm fooling you about. See, if you listen carefully, they always give themselves away, ladies. You just don't be listening. Or you act like you so confused when you hear it. Well, what did he mean? I don't understand. Why would he say that? Was he just joking? Am I supposed to take that seriously? Or he says, oh, now this happened to me. This a dude I was going out with a year or two ago for a hot minute. He says, you can catch on to my game sooner or later, right? Sooner is better for you than later. He says that to me. I was going to say, narcs always give themselves away. If you're listening, they always, always, always give themselves away. You have to be paying attention. So he said that to me. I was like, oh, hmm. Yeah, I catch on to games, and it would be sooner than later. Is that a problem? He didn't say nothing else. It was just very interesting. I just thought, wow, this is kind of odd. Or, I can't make you do what I want, but I can make you wish you had, said to another friend as he threatens her, with these veiled threats. See, they don't really say, I'm going to off you. They put it in a way where it is designed to intimidate you, instill fear, throw you off, and make you, want to please them so that these threats don't come true. You see what I'm saying? These are tools of manipulation and control. I've told you all 50 bazillion times. Men's whole existence is around getting women under their control and having power over us. That's all they want. Everything that they do is designed to do that. All the lies they tell, the cheating, the games they run, all of it is designed to get control over you. I don't understand why they are such powerless and weak beings that they feel like they can't do nothing unless they have dominion over someone else. That to me, have dominion over your own ass. Why don't you? Because half of you, half of them are stupid. Don't be doing nothing with themselves, but they want to control women though. They sabotage your birth code to make you be pregnant so that they clip your wings. They take your money. They threaten your kids. They threaten your dog. They do all kinds of stuff. No, it's not funny. None of it's funny. But this is the whole point. None of the thing on this show is funny. Today is not funny. Okay, usually I make jokes and all this kind of stuff. Nothing here that we talking about today is funny at all. This is deadly serious stuff that can really just mess you up financially, mentally, emotionally, physically, psychologically, spiritually, every way possible. It can fuck you up. Okay, so you need to stay focused on, you know, arming yourself with the proper knowledge so that you can defend yourself against this kind of nonsense. So how can you what is the solution to these romantic scams? Since most of these guys are long distance, the closest thing is, to be like me. I have to date somebody who's what I call geographically desirable. That means you got to be within 20 minutes, 25 miles, something of where I am. If you outside of that range, I can't fuck with you. You too far away and I don't do long distance. Okay? So y'all be having dude, oh, I live in Utah and he lives in Morocco or I don't know whatever you be doing. It's just too far. Okay, I'm not even doing one side of the country. I'm not even doing one part of California because the state is too big. You go from one end to another, it could take you a whole day. You can get there the next day. I'm not doing that. That's too far. You should have a rule that if you meet somebody on an online dating site or social media site, whatever, because people be meeting. I understand Facebook has a new some kind of dating platform or something. I was gonna go check it out and see what it's all about, but I haven't done it yet. You should have a rule that you have no more than, let's just say, 10 to 12 back and forth exchanges. So that'll be 6 on his side and 6 on yours before there's a face to face meeting scheduled. That would eliminate a lot of that catfishing stuff that goes on. If you say, to get together and he got some excuse why he don't want to, and this should all happen within, 10 days to 15 days or what, it's definitely by 3 weeks, 21 days. If he can't do it, he don't want to do it, he's got all these excuses why he can't do it, block and delete. Move on. And then if he says he's working abroad, well, that's really interesting. Check me out when you get back. If I'm still available, then we'll talk then. Click or block. Or and number 4, keep your mouth closed about what you want, what you looking for, your broken heart, your health issues, your grief, your badass kids, your breakup, how somebody cheated on you, beat your ass, all of those kind of things. Keep your mouth closed. You don't need to tell a complete stranger about those things, and you don't need to tell any man about any of that stuff at all. Okay, if your kids are bad, he'll see firsthand once y'all meet. You don't need to be telling men all this stuff about you. Okay? So, what do you do if you have been a victim of financial abuse? Well, first you start like you did today by learning more about what it is, what constitutes financial abuse. I think a lot of women just don't know. They figure that they're helping their man, or he's the what do they call it? The head of the household, and so he's supposed to handle the money and all this and that. Never mind that you managed to handle everything very well by yourself to the point where you got savings, you bought property, you did all this stuff by yourself, but naturally you turn into an idiot because you got with a man. So now you don't know nothing. And you got to hand everything, your whole life and all your finances over to him just because he has a weenie. That's it. That's his sole qualification for handling all your money is that he got a dick. And you think that qualifies him to being better, smarter, and better manager of money than you are. Examine your head and your thinking because you are straight in the 1800s. You need to wake up. Okay, you was doing very well without anybody helping you at all. You should continue in that trend. Okay, you got all this stuff. What he got? Most of them coming there looking like a homosexual with their little hefty bag moving stuff. They come in there like that, and you got everything he moving into your spot. So why do you think that he's more qualified to manage your money than you? Where's his house? Where's all his stuff? He don't have nothing compared to you. But you think that he's gonna be better at managing money than you, and you let him talk you into that nonsense? I'll be like, Homeskillet, you don't have shit. So you obviously you're not good at managing money. You need to give me your check and let me flip that. Because right now I'm looking at what you got versus what I got. You ain't on my level financially, and you can't handle my money, and that's just the way it is. You that don't work for you, then there's the door. You need to hit it. Take your hush puppies and your hefty bag with you. Okay, so you You learn it. You think about these situations that we went over today, and then you think about what he's trying to run down, and see if it matches any of the stuff that we talked about. If it matches any of the stuff that we talked about, then you automatically know that is some shenanigans afoot, and you need to get rid of them. If you believe that you are a victim, start organizing your important financial and personal documents. You want to have things such as bank statements, your birth and marriage certificates, a copy of his social security card, a copy of his driver's license. If he got paycheck stubs, you want to have a copy of that. And you want to store all this information with friends or family or in a safe deposit box or some other kind of secret storage place where he can't get to it. You want it outside of your house. Okay, you don't even want it necessarily at your parents' house because he might be rummaging over there when y'all go to visit or something. You want it in some place he's never gonna get to have free access to it. Number three, try if you can to earn extra money. Now, he might not want you to have a job. He might do everything he can. You got little kids, you won't help you with daycare, all this kind of stuff. But there's so many types of things that you can do at home these days. I mean, so since the whole world has changed because of COVID, there are a lot of jobs now that are online. You can even become somebody's administrative assistant online. Everything is done. I mean, you would need like a printer, a fax machine, or something. You got to have your email and all that stuff. But you can make money doing that. You could do a customer service type of job where they have a soft phone in your computer and you answer. They give you a book. You flip through it and you respond to people's questions about their customer service. You take their complaints. You put in orders for them to have replacements and stuff like this. There's so many options to work at home now that there weren't 10 years ago. So investigate those too. You want to keep that money that you make. This is your secret thing. You keep that money in an account that he don't know nothing about. Okay, put it in your mama's aid if you can trust him. Something like that. You put it somewhere that he can't get to it. You can get a free copy of your credit report and everything. And you should put what someone was telling me was in a show we did some time ago called a credit freeze, where no new accounts can be opened in your name without the secret password that you put on your credit. So before an account is open, they're going to call you or send you whatever they're going to do, and you have to provide that secret word so that they know, secret phrase, whatever, that is the legitimate application, not fraud, and then they will go ahead and process it. But without that, they won't open any accounts. So that if you're having a problem like that, you want to take care to contact the credit companies and make sure that you set that up. Okay. You want to create a budget so you know how much of your housing, food, transportation, and other expenses will cost when you leave. Okay, you need to know how much money you're going to need to make or how much money you need to get together in order to make that happen before you get out of here. Change your PIN codes and your passwords so that he can't access your financial information or track your activity. I will take it one better. I say close whatever that account is completely and open up a new account in a different financial institution. So say you was at Wells Fargo, don't just change the PIN and stuff at Wells Fargo. Close that account and open you up something in some small credit union, something like that. That's gonna have harder for him to find. He's not gonna know where your money is. Okay, that's what I suggest. And then, as finally, you can check out resources like the National Domestic Violence Hotline. The hotline.org is their website, or Safe Horizons is safehorizon.org for on the internet, or you can call them at 1-800-799-7233. It's 1-800-799-7233. And I think the most important thing I want to leave you with is, that not every relationship where there's some kind of financial weirdness going on is necessarily abusive. You might just have a husband who is stupid and don't know how to manage money and is just messing up. In any case like that, if you have more financial savvy, please take that over before it ruins your whole household. So many women are of the belief that their religion tells them that the man is supposed to be in charge. Well, your religion should tell you that whoever is the best at that particular task is the one who should be in charge. Okay, whoever is the best at it. That's what a partnership is about. One's weaknesses is the other's strength, but together, you two are stronger together than you are by yourselves because each one's weaknesses fills in, the other one's strengths fill in for that. Okay, so together you are just a force to be reckoned with. But if you got a man who's not good at that, don't try to put that on him just because the man. You do that part. You let him do something else. Maybe he's better at cooking than you are. Well, let him cook. Some of the world's best chefs are men, okay? So there ain't nothing to be embarrassed about. Let him cook and you do the bills. I mean, whatever works better. That's how you should do it. Because there's three components to a healthy relationship with money. In a relationship that makes sense, those three things are the ability to share the resources and the money equitably, transparency. Okay, nobody's hiding stuff. There's no corner cutting, secretness, and all this stuff. Okay, full disclosure, full transparency. These are our accounts. This is the PIN numbers. These are where the banks are. This, combination to the safe. This, all that stuff. Full transparency, so both partners have full access to everything. And then the final one is having an equal voice in your relationship and all expenditures that are made in that relationship. If you have those three things going on in your relationship or your marriage, then chances are you won't have to be dealing with the issues of financial abuse. Okay. I um I hope that this was very educational for you. We touched on a lot of really good points. Of course, this show could have been another hour long, but I think you get the idea. You have a lot more stories I could have shared, but I think that was enough. You get the idea how easy it is for women to get caught up. Once they understand how that you that bleeding heart on your sleeve type of chick that's always up in her feelings about everything. Those are the ones that's very easy to run game on you because all you have to do is tell you a sob story and you all like, oh my God, oh the poor thing. Whereas I just be looking at her like, do I care? How is that helping me? I'm not know you like that. You ain't nothing nobody to me, and I just don't want to be bothered. And so, I think what am I trying to do here? Oh yeah, that's what I want to talk about for today. We'll be back on Tuesday with the Sunday. I mean, with What the Fuck Tuesday, and then on Friday we start. We're gonna have I think 10, 11 shows before DNN comes back for June. We're gonna have what I'm calling something Friday. Shoot, I forgot what I called it. But anyway, some kind of little F name, but basically it means it's basically unbelievable too, just like What the Fuck Tuesday, just a different name for the match with Friday. So we'll start all that this coming Friday night, also at 6 p.m. sharp. If you aren't already a subscriber to this channel, please take a moment and hit that subscribe button and help us build our numbers. Be sure to like the video and share a link or two before you go. I really appreciate it. And I will see everybody. Hopefully, I'll see you all here again on Tuesday evening. I'll be waiting. Bye bye.